Welcome to the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi. May the Force be with you.
Looky, Senator. Decent Jedi arriving.
Let's make this our best show ever.
I am Boba Fett. Left for dead on the sands of Tatooine.
I intend to rule with respect.
I'm a simple man making his way through the galaxy.
I've got a lot of ground to cover. Speak freely.
Okay, let's get on with the ride, folks.
Like a panther.
So, hello everybody, and welcome to the February 2022 episode of the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast. We're recording this on Sunday the 13th of February 2022, the day before Valentine's Day, or as I am aware in America, there's some football thing going on. I don't know. I think a few people watch it, something like that. So here we are, where we talk about all things fun, enthusiastic discussions and stuff here on Star Wars. No drama, no politics. The only drama is the stuff that we see on screen in here, not any of that outside stuff that just dominates social media and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about the good stuff here. As you can tell, folks, I am from Great Britain. Everybody else here isn't, but apparently I've got the voice for the villain or the narrator on this podcast. All villains in Star... No, maybe not all villains in Star Wars were British, but we had quite a lot to say in the New Hope stuff, quite a lot of British stuff. Anyhow, my name is Stephen. I'm being told to say that because quite often I don't say who I am. And I am the Chancellor of this Senate and the only Brit you really need on your podcast. I'm not sure that's good or bad. But joining me this month from across the great states of America in Skype order, it's Ricky.
Hello.
Ryan.
Hi, everybody.
Tony.
Hello, everyone.
Marie.
Good morning, everyone.
And Rombot Ron.
Greetings and salutations, Chancellor and fellow senators.
Welcome, everybody. That makes anybody add that one up? That's 6 of us. Fantastic.
Yep, good morning.
And as ever, we are across social media like a rabbit. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and probably YouTube. I can't remember. But our social media guru, Ricky, will tell you exactly where we are and how to get hold of us if you really want to.
Yeah, on Facebook, we're at PSW Senate, and on Instagram, PSW Senate Podcast. Twitter, we're at PSW Senate. And on TikTok, we're at PSW Senate Podcast. Or you can email us at positivelystarwarssenate@gmail.com. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun interacting with people on Twitter. A lot of good people out there actually discussing Star Wars and not just arguing about stuff. So it's been pretty...
On Twitter?
On Twitter, yeah. I muted a lot of people, though. So that's how you got to do it, people. Just mute everyone that just posts nonsense. But yeah.
And on the 7th day, the social media god created the mute button.
It works.
Yes.
There was a couple days where I thought it was broken because it wasn't moving. But
I chimed in on the pizza debate.
Oh, yeah. You got to do that.
There was actually a pizza day of the year. It was a National Pizza Day, but unfortunately I didn't do anything about that.
I ordered pizza that day and watched Star Wars. That's how I celebrated it.
Yes. So on this week's episode, well, there hasn't been a lot going on since we had our special 2 weeks ago. But of course, there's a lot going on. There always is in the world of Star Wars, and we have the last 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett to talk about, episodes 6 and 7, which I have to get in my head because I keep getting in my head there's only 6 episodes in the series. And if we do have time for debating and pulling that all apart, we might be able to squeeze in a little look ahead at the Kenobi series, which will air before we're next back here. Believe it or not, folks, it's that soon, isn't it? No, it's not. It's May.
No, yeah.
Sorry.
End of May.
Damn it! I got really excited then.
Ooh, all jazzed. Yep.
Yeah, there's a big Star Wars break coming up.
It's my fault. It's not my
Hold
fault.
on. I'm going to take umbrage to a big Star Wars break. Ooh, what? 2 months?
That's too much for me.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
I am spoiled, okay?
Right?
Books, so.
you kids these days and your 2 months Star Wars break.
Yeah. The High Republic is taking a break. The comics are ending. The shows are taking a break. Marvel shows are taking a break.
Whatever will you do?
For several months.
You know what you can do during that 2 months, right? Build that sail barge.
It's an ongoing debate here is Ron's sail barge. I'm sure we'll have a good time to talk about it. Probably maybe next month, because I think actually he's going to try and have a High Republic special, which I'm sure Ron will love. So we might do that next month, because there's a lot of High Republic stuff to catch up on and stuff.
Is Ron's sail barge actually a thing, or is that a euphemism?
He literally has the sail barge there in the box.
Okay, yeah, I missed that, so I just wanted to clear that up on my.
No, it exists. It's in a box, and that's not a euphemism either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ron sail barge in a box. Okay, this is a family show, right? Then we gotta.
Yeah.
It has been removed from the box once.
All right.
Breaking news.
So yeah, I pre-order, or however the sail barge worked. Definitely did that. Got it. Thing is massive. Had great plans of maybe doing an unboxing with my nephew, who's now 9, so he would have been 7 or so whenever I got the thing, and just don't have a place for it. I mean, the thing took up when I did take it out of the packaging box to see the box itself, because it's just gorgeous, and just I needed to or wanted to. I don't know why I ended up doing that one day, but take some pictures of it and everything. I think to show Steven, to prove that I in fact had the thing in my house, and have since put it back, because you have to have it is a commitment, especially when it's unboxed, as to where you're putting the thing or whatever. And didn't quite think that through. I mean, I did in terms of I'm not going to think this through right now. I'm just making this purchase. But yeah, so the sail barge is in the house.
You got to move your car out and put it in the garage type of.
To some extent, I didn't realize that until the day it was delivered, or till the day I went to do the pictures. I'm like, why am I going to do this? So I cleared off the dining room table, and it literally took up the dining room table. Now that's a little bigger, because that's the packaging box with all the safe packaging material and stuff, whatever. But yeah, the thing is massive, so you have to commit. You have to have a place for the thing when the time comes, and I don't have that at the moment. So yes, Stephen keeps asking Stephen keeps harping on me as to when that's happening, and I don't know.
I would love to have been a fly on the wall when the wife saw the size of the box.
Luckily,
the sail barge box.
Luckily, the day it arrived, she wasn't here, but that doesn't mean I could hide it. It was so huge that you had to own it to some extent or whatever.
You put like a plant and a tablecloth over it.
But I do, it's that type of thing. It's like, oh, we got new furniture. Yeah. Don't disrupt the dust cover that's over it, kind of thing, whatever. I do remember the day it showed that the FedEx man or whoever, I think it was FedEx, whatever, asked what it was, or somehow there was a conversation, because he said he had another one to deliver in my small town. And I was like, oh, really? That there's somebody else in small town USA that had pre-ordered or ordered one of those things or whatever. I remember him. He told me the address, which was, I don't think he should have, but I remember him telling me. But I didn't remark it at the time. I don't remember where it is. I know what neighborhood it was in or whatever. But to know if
did you ride your bike straight over?
Yeah, right. Following over. No, I think it was much like right now. It's a cold. It's we just got a little bit of snow, and it's just kind of remember being a dreary day. But
I'm just picturing Ron on a 10-speed now with the with the cards and the spokes.
No,
you got one too.
It would have been a BMX. It would have been a trick bike if I was
been
right.
a Huffy.
I'm getting flashbacks of the Wonder stuff here.
Yep. It was a Huffy. Yeah. It was a GT performer, pro performer. Been flying over, following that FedEx man just as fast as I could. Where's he going?
And don't forget, folks, that Ron's also got a delivery coming today, so that we might have a live Star Wars delivery in the midst of the show. How exciting is that? But probably not an unboxing live, I should imagine, because Ron likes to keep his things.
Is it the Jabba the Hutt that fits in the sail barge?
Okay, we best move on, or we will do a forever running out of time thing, as we kind of tend to do. So, first up, folks, we always go around the table and see what people have been up to in the last month in Star Wars land. Like, it's not generally what people have been doing at work and things like that. Just Star Wars. So we'll go around the table and we will start with Ricky.
Hello. This month, I started reading, I'm getting back into High Republic stuff, so I started reading Out of the Shadows because I'm behind. Because I did pick up Fallen Star, and yesterday I just got my Midnight Horizon book. And then I also got the Myth and Fables book, and then I have the other. What's the kid book that's one that's coming out March 1st?
Mission to Disaster.
Yeah, that one's coming. So So yeah, I'm getting caught up with those things, and then one cool thing I did. I have one of those R2D2 themed. Well, I guess it's a Star Wars themed Xbox 360 that I got a while back. So I've dusted that off, plugged it in, and then I ordered one of the Kinect things, and I had the Star Wars Kinect for it, and I never played it ever because I didn't have a Kinect. So me and my daughter we've been doing that. That was pretty cool. Like I missed that game when it came out. I didn't have a 360 or anything like that. But yeah, it has like the goofy dance game, which was pretty fun, and then there's also like a Jedi training one, which the area in that game where you're training looks just like the Jedi Temple Challenge show. So that was pretty fun to get into. But yeah, I didn't pick up any new figures or anything like that. Just the books, and of course watching. I watched New Hope a couple times on VHS and Empire. I've dusted off to these. I don't know why I'm dusting off old stuff this month, but yeah, I'm getting into all this retro stuff. So it's been fun.
Nostalgia is real. That game console, did you get it new as the R2 one?
No, it was my brother-in-law's, and he got the new Xbox, and he wasn't using that one anymore. He knows I like Star Wars, so he gave it to me a couple years back, and it's just been sitting here in the playroom. But yeah, it works and everything. It makes.
I've been watching the various game resellers in the area, whatever, and been wanting to pull the trigger just to have that as part of the collection.
It's cool. It makes the R2D2 beeping when you turn it on. It's pretty loud though when it does that.
It does. Did not know that.
Yeah, it goes. It does that, and then it has a 3PO controller, and then it's the cool little etchings on the side, and when the disc thing opens up the tray, inside the tray it says "Help you, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope." Like you have to look for it to find it. Yeah.
I didn't know it was that custom. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I just thought it was a skin. Didn't know it did some extra.
No, it's different.
I knew the 3PO controller was there, but I just figured it was a skin. Cool.
Yeah, no,
did not know that.
Cool. Yeah.
Although I never recall R2 going.
Needed reverse.
That sounds like another science fiction show. Oh man, you sound like you've been back in the 90s for the last month.
Yeah,
sounds like good times. Good
got
times.
a mullet now. It's crazy.
Baggy pants, put on backwards. Yeah, lovely. Good
crisscross.
Nice. Crisscross. Yeah,
I got my cross color shirt on. Yeah.
I have the 90s music channel on quite a lot here, and I saw them just last week. Oh my god, I've forgotten about them totally. Whenever they are now, I was going to Google about that. They literally were like everywhere for like 2 months when they first came out, wasn't they?
For 2 months.
Fantastic. Okay, Ryan.
All right, my Star Warsing over the last, 2 weeks is a lot of books and audiobooks. So I'm still reading the Plagueis book. I've kind of set that down for a bit, but I'm picking it back up and trying to force my way through it till my library gets the wave 3 of the High Republic books. But I did listen to Race to Crash Point Tower audiobook. I knocked that out in one sitting while driving around. I started Rise of the Resistance, which is between The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, just because I drive a lot for work. So I just try to find some Star Wars audiobooks to listen to, even if I never really intended to. I'm like, well, I need something. So I'm giving that one a shot to kind of hear about the sequel trilogy heroes. And ever since Cad Bane appeared in the new episodes of Book of Boba Fett, it's kind of got me amped back up for Clone Wars. So I've kind of got away from it from the past month, but in the past 2 weeks, I've probably watched like another 5 or 6 episodes. So I'm getting back into that, creaming through it. And season 4 is definitely, picking up as far as the storytelling and all that. So I'm happy to be getting back into Clone Wars.
That's all the Maul stuff, right? Season 4. And like the
I think that was the beginning. It was talking about the sisters and all that. Yeah. So
you're exactly where I got to in my rewatch, which started a while ago, probably about the same time as Ron brought his sail barge.
Ooh, did you get to the Krell stuff, Ryan? General Krell?
Is that the? Yeah, that's one of the ones I was in. I stopped it after that first episode, and I got back into it, and I was surprised by his outcome. Actually, I had no idea that was coming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can remember. I
don't say so I don't spoil it for people. I don't know if spoiler bans are lifted for 6-year-old Clone Wars.
Well, if you remember, we had a debate if that was Dexter Jettster's brother.
Well, for someone like you, Ryan, if you haven't seen, if you chose not to watch it, if cartoon Star Wars wasn't my thing, and now you're coming back to it, I would kind of spoiler alertish or otherwise not want to spoil that, because that was a powerful arc. That was a fun. I don't know if I recall that being the first sort of turn to some serious Star Wars lore and introspective into Jedi, what it all means, whatever. But that was a deep arc. That was good stuff from what I remember of it. And yeah, so we won't necessarily full on discuss it for anybody who hasn't, but use it as a tool to remind everyone. If you haven't watched the Clone Wars, you really should catch up and watch.
Oh yeah, that and the Mortis arc, and then
we briefly
Sunny Day in the Void. It's the best episode.
We briefly discussed the Krill thing, because I remember saying at the end, you get the clone troopers sort of questioning the war.
Yeah.
And that whole subject of them taking orders, because they actually disobeyed orders in that. And you've got this whole thing of clone troopers will obey orders no matter what. And then they didn't in that thing. That has another angle into their orders. Yes.
Then I started, just randomly, I decided to watch Attack of the Clones. So it's like, I'll watch that most of the way through it. And, you know, that, no offense, but it ranks kind of low on my list. But it was actually really good. I was like, man, it's not that any Star Wars isn't good, but you know,
much in that movie.
It's one of the ones that I watched the least of. You know, that doesn't mean that it's not good or anything.
Probably my favorite of the prequels.
Well, so interesting. What the sit down? We have so much content to call from and pick, and otherwise take our time. What do you recall was the all right? Maybe I give Attack of the Clones a try, or what was the thought process behind picking it, if you remember?
Because after I finished Book of Boba Fett, and I just kind of put it on in the background when our kid came back home from their dad's, just because I know he would watch it and be like, oh my God, what all this going on? So he had all these questions, because he's not a big Star Wars.
Sure.
Sit down and watch a lot of movies. So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to try Attack of the Clones, because I know this got more action than Phantom. It's got a lot more stuff to it. So I just put that on, and then he was getting interested in that too. I eventually ran off and was just playing with the dog, but I was watching, I was like, there's a lot to this, and it almost cements my thought of Anakin Skywalker is really just one of the worst Jedi in history. Like he
literally is the worst Jedi in history.
Yeah. And it really, even before Order 66, he was, in my thought, he was always, and watching Clone Wars to help support my personal theory, is that he's more interested in war than anything else. He's more interested in glory, to get in the accolades, the way he talks back to Obi-Wan in Attack of the Clones, and he's questioning the order to Padme and all this. It's just like, man, this guy really is just what the Jedi are not supposed to be, especially comparing to the High Republic era, where it's, to me, is the pinnacle of and the braveness of the Jedi. And then you go to someone like Anakin, who, he's brave and he leads the military and he goes off to war and all that stuff, but he almost craves, he's the first to attack, not to talk. He's the total opposite of Obi-Wan, where he's like, well, let's talk to him. And Anakin's like, one of the episodes was they thought Obi-Wan was killed in the episode. And I was like, well, he can't be dead, right? So, because he's still alive, but then he ends up doing the old face swap. And Anakin goes off the rails and he tries to kill all these people. And I'm like, man, he is just, even before Order 66, he was going to be the downfall of the Order. And it makes me support Mace Windu even more, that he did not deserve to be a master because he was too off the handle. I mean, Anakin's cool and all that. He is legitimately handle crazy.
Yoda was right. He was too old. That there's something to that aspect of training and where that, but to Qui-Gon's point, to everyone's point and all that, yes, but he's too powerful. If we don't train him, where's he going to end up, or what happens? Not that the dark side existed, that he would be taken by the other team, but it does get lost on a lot of people because they know Anakin's this, going to be Vader and going to be awesome. But to your point of, he's not that great a Jedi in that sense of the dogma aspect. He's great at the skills, but the mindset and the Obi-Wan-isms, but that's the different personalities of different Jedi to some extent. But it gets lost on folks, that aspect of what Mace is trying to point out, what Obi-Wan was Yoda was trying to point out, but Obi-Wan's beholden to Qui-Gon, and I will train him and just trying to rein him in best he can. That just because you're a Jedi Master, and we'll talk about it with Luke, whatever, just because you're Jedi doesn't necessarily make you a great teacher. Just because you were great at a sport doesn't mean you're going to be a great coach. So there's something to what was witnessed in all this story.
A lot of passes just because they kind of needed him at the time, so they let him do what he wanted. pretty much
A little bit of that, sure.
I'm a big believer that Palpatine manipulated almost every aspect of his life. So you could see in all the talks, he's poking him. He's like, you don't believe even in Clone Wars. He's like, you don't believe in him. They don't believe in you. And I even believe that he had some effect on his mother and stuff, helping her get captured, even if kind of pushing it the right way to truly push him eventually over to the dark side. So, but yeah, they have this huge battle and they need someone like Anakin who constantly wins, even though it's like, man, I don't like the way you did it, but yeah, we were able to maintain the planet, but don't do this again. And he's like, well, I was right, so I'm going to do it again.
Yularen is always like, so this is your version of a victory. Then he's like, yeah, well, we won, didn't we? He's like,
Yeah. And there is something to that mind manipulation, that brainwashing aspect, because to me, I think that's what Snoke does to Ben in terms of brainwashing him and constantly feeding with it. Luke doesn't Luke knows you're too powerful. Luke's going to try to kill you someday. Luke doesn't think Luke, all the stuff. So when in that briefest of moment he sees something like that, all of that brainwashing comes to fruition. It wasn't truly going to happen, but they kept planting those seeds, kept doing this thing, much like Palpatine. Well, it is sort of Palpatine through Snoke and Ben, but that Palpatine sort of manipulation, if you will, that brainwashing, that just constant throwing little seeds of doubt, seeds, so that then when the time comes, you can be that, see, I told you, kind of thing. And I think
I'm a believer.
Powerful part of the story.
I'm a big believer of that, and that Palpatine, and in that same moment, that Palpatine Snoke manipulated Luke also. So that's also my theory on all that. But I mean, we're not talking The Last Jedi. But manipulation is a big thing, and I totally agree with you that Ben and Luke were manipulated in that instance to help turn everything. So, but yeah, that's my Star Warsing for the past couple of weeks. Clone Wars definitely picking up, so I'm hopefully to squeeze that in the background more and more. So, and I'll bring that up later.
Okay, Tony.
So let's see, what have I been doing? Boba Fett, watching Book of Boba Fett, obviously. I've been buying the Marvel Star Wars comics since they've been putting them out this time around. But I had kind of stopped reading them, so I dove back into those, and I'm kind of working my way, just so everybody knows where I am. I'm leading my way back to what was the big crossover, the bounty hunter. The bounty hunters, yeah. I'm just about to get to that. I'm just about to start that, so that's where I am.
Which of the Star Wars ones are you reading? Just the main?
I'm reading the main one, the Star Wars, Vader, the bounty hunters, and Aphra. I have the High Republic ones, but I haven't read them because I'm not really up to date with the books or anything. So they're just kind of sitting there. So I'm just kind of reading the main 4 titles, the ones that are going to lead up to the War of the Bounty Hunters. So.
Okay.
So I've been doing that, and then on a kind of side, it is Star Wars related. I used to collect the action figures, the 3 3/4 ones back in the 90s when they came back around 97. So what was it? The Power of the Force? Was that what it was called?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have like tubs and tubs in my garage, probably like a dozen tubs filled with all these action figures that I had bought. I used to buy a bunch of them just to collect them, and I keep them in the packaging, and I even bought the little clear cases so they wouldn't get damaged, and I collected up until Phantom Menace and just past it. By the time Attack of the Clones rolled around, I kind of had lost interest. It just got to be too much, so I stopped. So I have like tubs, these big plastic tubs filled with all these figures in my garage. And my son has recently kind of gotten interested in Star Wars and the action figures and like these things they've been sitting there. I'm not really sure what to do with them. I don't think they're really worth much of anything anymore. So I've kind of been letting him have them. I basically have him help me clean out the garage, and then as a form of payment, I give him a tub each time, and he can kind of go through there and pick whatever he wants. So So I've been kind of, reliving my action figure.
Tony,
buying.
do you still need help with that garage? I can.
Yeah, I can help clean. I can help clean out.
If anybody wants to drive out to Los Angeles, you're free. You're free to take whatever's left over from the Power of the Force.
So
line.
he gets a whole. So when
I'll be there by halftime. I assume.
Yeah, Bond's on his way already.
He gets a tub. He gets a tub in payment every Saturday or whatever that we go out there.
Yeah, but when you say tub, my tubs are the big I want to say 60,
the big Target one.
gallon. That's like
These are the
like
ones
2-3 feet long. How big is the tub? Obviously, it's not that big.
How many? They probably hold like a good, I don't know, like 20.
Could he
figures.
fit in there? Is that
okay?
How big?
He probably fit about maybe 24 figures in each one. That's because they're inside the little. Like I said, I used to buy the little
Clamshell.
Yeah, the little clamshell holders, which now, they've just been sitting out there and they turned all yellow. The figure's fine inside the thing, but I guess
clamshells themselves weren't good plastic.
I guess not. And I guess it did its job because, pretty much the plastic inside, held intact. It's just on the outside. They're kind of like yellow, kind of like a bronze. So anyway, so I've been, he's got this whole, and he's just ripping them open.
Yeah, he is.
My younger self, I know inside does backflips watching him do it. Dude, this is not what we were supposed to do. But they were not supposed to be open. But he goes through them and he's ripping them open and I don't know. He's having a blast with them.
You're creating a future collector because he's going to do that. He's going to lose all the little pieces that come with it. Having fun playing with it, whatever. But so many accessories, unless he's organized and able to keep the accessories, whatever. So then, he'll be the kid that grows up that will then want to try to buy the figure back. Looking for it to have it with a future collector of sorts.
Rip them open.
He's having a good time. Whatever. I don't really care anymore. At this point.
That's exactly what it's for.
And when he's your age, he'll remember what it felt like to have those figures in his hands and touching them.
Exactly. Yeah. He's having. I mean, that's what they were supposed to be for, right?
Yeah.
Not to be just boxed up in the garage inside
no
of a
stinky
clamshell, inside of a tub. You know what I mean?
But there might be one or two. So to hear that, and I definitely have that tub and have that same sort of scenario. But yeah, there might be like an Efont man, or there's one or two of them that probably shouldn't be open.
I have the He-Man.
There might be. I've kind of looked over the years, at selling them, and then I even see them. There's places where I go and I come, and they have tons of them hanging on pegs, and I'm okay, these things are not worth anything anymore.
I got the Han Solo one.
That's what I say. There's only there'll be one. If there's 5, there's that's probably a high number.
There might be one, and I don't think I've seen him come across. But now that you said that, I'll keep my eye out for the.
There should, I kind of think I would give the tubs a once over twice just to make sure there's not anything in there that screams, well, maybe not this one. But I get distraught. I have my collections. It's very simple. And when you see those stores, those local stores or whatever that just have pegs and pegs of the stuff or whatever, and you're just oh. All right. Well, what I bought to collect, I did for fun, whatever. I didn't do it for value. It wasn't trying to get
exactly.
anything. But there is so much of that stuff that's out there that aside from the one or two or three that were hard to come by, rare or whatever, this stuff is you could easily go probably build that collection back up.
And those lines from back then, you had every figure. You had the guy that was standing next to the guy.
They put out everything. There was always I know because I go back to the Kenner days, and back then there were a lot of them. Even though they put out a lot, there were always ones where you're oh, if I had this guy or that guy, and fast forward 20 years, they put them all out. Even people I wouldn't have even imagined, they put out there, or with just different.
I have a set that's the Force Ghosts of Obi-Wan and Yoda, and it would have been Sebastian Shaw as Anakin, but I have one of those.
Is it the little cinema scene, the box, and they recreate the scene from the movie, and it's has the backdrop in it?
Yeah, I think it's that one. I haven't seen it for years and years. It's probably in storage somewhere, but I have that. Yeah. Something that you wouldn't think that they'd make a figure out of, but I was at Toys R Us one day. And I was oh, cool. So I just picked it up and. They
put it all out. They put it all out. So
that was an easy. That was profit margin figure set, because right, those Force Ghosts are just that blue glowy figure, no articulation if I recall. Anyway,
Yeah, they don't
those
have
are
any
cheap figures
articulation or
for them.
anything.
Yeah, those are our cheap figures for them, but they put them in a box set and we gobbled them up.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So
Yes,
anyway,
yes, we
I've been going through those, revisiting, and
That's cool. Making memories. That's good.
making memories. There you go. So that's other than that, that's all I've been up to since last we spoke.
Pass on what you have learned.
Pass on what you have bought.
You just reminded me, talking about the old Star Wars figures and stuff. I remember sending off. I got the Emperor one, and you had to send off tokens over here to get it.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the shops. You had to save up tokens, then send off, pay like £1.25 or something like that. Not a huge amount, and they would send it to you. And I can't remember where I got where you had to get tokens from. Was it the same over in America? You had to
over here. You'd get the little proof of purchase seal that would come on the card back of the figure, and you would cut out like 5 of those and then mail it off. I don't remember if there was a cost as well, but you would mail that off, and then you'd get a little white box with the figure. Like
that must have been
3 months later,
Yeah.
something like that.
I just remember that you couldn't buy the Emperor in the shops, but you could send off for it. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
So I've got him. I think I've lost this stick though. As I suppose lots of people have lost the stick.
I know. I did the very first one that they did that back in, I guess it was the late 70s, was the Boba Fett, and I did that one, and it was supposed to be the famous. It was supposed to have the rocket firing jetpack, but it didn't, because kids started choking on it or whatever. So I know I did that one, and then before Return of the Jedi, I think it was what's his name. The calamari guy. I'm spacing on his name. It's a trap guy. Akbar. Yeah,
Akbar.
I think they did Akbar. And I think I think you're right. They also did an Emperor at some point. I can't remember what else they did. Those are the kind of the 3 I remember doing. But you used to cut out the little. It was a proof of purchase. It was a little circle that was on the card back, and you would cut those out and mail them in. And then a few months later, you'd get it in the mail.
Oh, excellent. Because I was just thinking about it. I thought, where the heck did I get these tokens or whatever they were from? But you've answered the question from other figures.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was probably the same over there, but that's how it was over here. Yeah.
Ah, excellent. Oh, good times. The 80s, that is. Yeah. Marie.
Well, based off of a conversation we were having in chat, I've decided to go looking for one of my books on the schematics of the different ships. I think Boba Fett's ship is in there, but I'm not 100% sure. And I wanted to go looking for it because I have this sudden interest in seeing the components of the ships. Other than that, of course, I've been watching the Book of Boba Fett. I did watch Solo for a little bit. I'm not sure what brought that on. I think I just kind of I was kind of hoping Solo would maybe make an appearance, or something related to that would maybe make an appearance in the last couple of episodes, which we'll discuss later on.
The Pikes.
Did not happen. What's that?
You had the Pikes.
Well, yeah, we had the Pikes, but I was hoping something else tangential to that might happen, but it didn't. But I'm not disappointed. I'm glad with what we got. I'm also digging up my old Star Wars Shakespeare books because I want to read the original. I have the original trilogy, I think, which is I don't know if you guys have ever seen those, the Star Wars rendered as Shakespeare plays.
Yeah.
Those were fun. I read them a while ago, but I just decided that I want to read them again. So I'm going to be doing that at some point. And I did say, like, maybe a few months ago, that I wanted to do a Rebels rewatch. And once I'm through all my shows, which is about to happen, and once I'm through some of my non-Star Wars reading, then I'm probably going to get back into more Star Wars reading and more Star Wars watching. So I'm going to be doing that Rebels rewatch at some point. What else have I watched? I was thinking about, based on a couple of things we saw in Book of Boba Fett, diving back into the prequel trilogy for a little bit. So that's been I've mostly been planning my future Star Wars obsessing, I guess, because I have a million things that I'm doing right now that are non-Star Wars related, but all that's about to end once all those shows come to their finales and things.
Have you been able to get any tickets to Celebration yet?
I have not. I have not managed to do that.
If anybody has
I'm
tickets and want to get rid of them.
Yeah. So if anybody has tickets, make sure to get to us on social media because I'm looking for tickets.
You can email Maria at
than
positivelystarwarssenate@gmail.com.
Other than that, I was talking to a couple friends from Steve's neck of the woods the other day. Steven's neck of the woods, sorry, Steven, the other day. And we're talking about possibly going to Celebration Europe when those things start up again.
Ooh. Probably won't be this year.
That would be fun. What's that?
Probably won't be this year, I should imagine. But
no, it won't be this year.
No.
And we were thinking about if it's going to be someplace in London again, then, or maybe London or somewhere in England, then we'd go. But if it's anywhere else in Europe, then that might not be doable. But if it was going to be in England, we were talking about possibly going.
Cool, excellent. I can recommend England. Okay. Yeah, best country in Europe.
Be a tour guide.
Technically in Europe. Okay, Ron.
Chancellor, we've only had 2 weeks, so obviously been a light bit of Star Warsing in that past time, but obviously the Book of Boba Fett, been catching up on that. So much Star Wars content out there, but that's really all I've been watching, and not much out on the streets. Although I did pick up, I'm going to post it here in the chat. Saw something new on the shelves to make people aware of. It's a box set of figures. It's the sort of clunky, chunky. They're 3 3/4 figures, but they're the dollar store figures is kind of what I call them, that they don't have a lot of articulation, but they were in sort of small little boxes. They weren't on blister cards. They were boxed with a window. I think in the latest iteration, previous iteration, you could kind of actually like touch the figure. But anyway, they did this neat little box set. I hadn't seen it anywhere. And it was one of the fewest new products that was on the shelves stock.
3 3/4 inch?
I want to say no, maybe they're 6 inch. I think they're on the line of the 6 inch.
I think they're like 5 inch. They weren't 6 inch.
Yeah. You know what? I think you're right. Yeah, they're in between. But yeah, there's a Mandalorian, a Grogu, a Death Trooper, Return of the Jedi, Luke, a Vader, and a Rey. It's interesting that it just says Rey. It doesn't say Rey Skywalker or anything. It just says Rey. And actually, I think it says the child. It does not say Grogu. So it was pre. It'd be interesting to see. I didn't look for it any sort of date or anything like that. But the score of the find was the particular Walmart that I hit had a carbonized shore troop, and obviously had plenty of more Landos, and you know what to do with. Holy cow! 6 Black Series and a 3 3/4. It's interesting that figure was popular. It was what they chose to mass produce, and put out full cases of. But so he's peg warming in both scales. But this store had 2 shore troopers, carbonized shore troopers, which is just they've fancified the card. The figure has this interesting sheen to it. It was just a gimmick for us collectors to buy it, and we ate it up. We bought it, and I checked my stash. I only had 1 shore trooper carbonized in my collection, so I thought I'd pick another one up just so that have one to stock, one to rock, or whatever that is. So when I checked out, the 2-3 other items that I had were clearance items, and when I figured the shore trooper was going to be the most expensive thing, and I'm doing the self-scanning and whatever, and it beeps and it goes $5. I was like, wait, what? Sure enough, so it was $5. It was $5. There was another one on the peg that I left there because its card was all creased and mangled, and it was just like, yep, don't need that. Well, once I checked out, I did need that, so I go back through the store and pick that other one up, even though it was on a just beat the hell card because it was $5. So yeah,
can I get a discount off of this because it's bent?
Yeah, exactly. Truly, your mileage will vary, kind of thing, or whatever. That's just that Walmart found an old stock box on the shelf, or I don't know how they come across those figures like they do like that sometimes, but because, and it's weird for the stores the way they do it, and from what I've just gleaned over all these years, they look at that SKU, they look at that number, they look at whatever and go, oh, that was something from 6 months ago, a year ago, whenever that carbonized stuff was popular or was first released. So they go, it must need to be a clearance price. So they put it on a clearance price. So I scored a carbonized figure for $5. So that's my little bit of, that was a fun little bonus.
Are those going to go in the Halloween giveaway box?
The bent card one, that's the type of thing that I love to find. Now, finding the carbonized one, that's the kind of thing I love to find. The whole peg, like the Landos. If the Landos ever got clearanced out like that, whatever, for something like that, that's in my wheelhouse. That's why I love to hit that clearance for, a $20-$25 figure that's marked down like that. That's the kind of item that gets purchased in bulk to go into the Halloween box. Yes.
All right, so I gotta go.
That's
I gotta
how
clean
it makes
Tony's
it in.
garage, and then go
Yeah.
trick or treating at Ron's house.
Trick or treating.
I'm gonna send you a box for your Halloween box.
You guys can trade boxes.
Yeah.
Trade
Yeah,
bins.
I think I talked about it. That's how I picked up. Target had an exclusive 6-inch Chewie. I think it was a pilot Chewie from the Han Solo movie. He had goggles and everything, and he was talked about as collectible and all that, because he was only at Target, 6-inch figure, Black Series, all that. Neat. Only saw him in the stores once. Somewhere well after his release, a Target in another town over, whatever, must have found their case, whatever. They had him, scads of him and had him on clearance. I was like, oh wow! So picked up a bunch, thinking I was gonna flip them or do something with them. Never did, and yeah, they ended up in the Halloween, in the trick or treat box, because everybody loves Chewie. So I knew that would be a big hit, and finally, allowed myself to let the kids have them, if you will, so to speak. So that was a fun one to give away. So, yep, love those type of clearances, those type of scores. So that's it for me for Star Wars and for the past 2 weeks.
Excellent. And still no delivery at the moment. So
I suspect the mic might pick up the doorbell, and if it doesn't pick up the doorbell, it should hear the craziness of a dog reacting to said doorbell.
Oh, I can't wait. Excitement is building. It could happen anytime, folks. Keep staying tuned in for the delivery at Ron's door.
Yes, stay tuned. Any moment, bated breath.
Yeah. And stay tuned when we might talk about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series in the next break.
Coming up.
Coming up.
Yeah, we might. No, actually, we've got next month, haven't we now? I forgot that. I got so excited. I blame COVID. I have no idea what time, a date, or year, or century it is anymore. I've got my months completely mixed up. Okay.
1998, Stephen.
It's 1998. It feels like it. Okay, so what's this? It's a holocron. We have a holocron up here, and it has some news from beyond. And there's only one of us who can open this holocron, and it is Ryan, who's going to give us hopefully reasonably a brief go through some of the latest news in Star Wars land.
So yeah, we can just open the news from the HoloNet. All news, no rumors, everything's all confirmed. So the first news that I got here is Hayden Christensen has been confirmed for the Ahsoka series. So that was a little bit of surprise for me. Filming is going to wrap late in 2022, and the show will air in 2023. So I'm not sure if you think we'll see him as a ghost or as a flashback.
Hopefully both.
I honestly don't want to see him as a ghost. I think him appearing as a ghost as a Sith user is kind of a slap in the face to the Force. So, but Hayden as flashbacks, a little bit.
Flashback, and I've said it before. You can't have the Force ghost constantly being around. There has to be some limitation factor, or they're an easy storytelling crutch. They're an easy mark for, well, why doesn't a Force ghost Obi-Wan come back and tell Luke, no, don't make him choose between two things. It just, the Force ghosting needs to be a very limited, it has to have some constraint on it in some sense. So I will lean and go towards flashback.
Yeah, and I believe the same thing for the Kenobi series too. It's if you're going to bring back Hayden, I don't think he had a lot of role in the Vader suit. I don't know if I might be wrong on that. I know he had the makeup and all that, but so I would be interested just to see how they use Hayden, and I'm glad he's getting some love with all these new series. So I'm excited to see where it goes with that. A couple other stories for people who play the video games. Nintendo Switch is getting the Force Unleashed PlayStation 2 game. 10 years later, that's getting released April 20th for $20. So actually, for the low price, I might have to pick that one up because it's supposed to be.
For the Wii, it was fun.
Is that going to be a legit package cartridge, or is that just a download thing?
No, I think
is there something I can tangibly collect, or add to the gaming collection, or is it just a
cartridge?
Yeah,
it is 1998 again, Ricky.
Yeah, so we'll be able to buy it, I think, for sure. So for $20, I think I might get that one. I have Force Unleashed 2 for my PSP, but Force Unleashed 1 was a good one for $20.
I like that you can use the controller for the the lightsaber. That was the fun part of playing those games. Was I had the Wii, and then I had the little lightsaber extension thing, and you could swing it around. You would get exhausted trying to fight all the other stormtroopers.
I can't wait to throw my controller against the wall as it slides off the wrist. It's great.
Probably would happen. Put that wrist strap on.
Tying in with the
fun fact here: I've never owned a console.
Shocking, none of us.
Or a Blu-ray player.
I've never owned a Blu-ray player either, but that's okay. Go on, Ryan.
And announced, and again, it might appear back in our Kenobi discussion. It has been announced that it's releasing May 25th, a 45-year anniversary from New Hope, and the 39-year anniversary from Return of the Jedi, on its May 25th drop on Disney Plus. So I was happy with that. A lot of people said May the 4th, and apparently May 25th is also on a Wednesday. I really don't look at the calendar that far ahead, so I think it's a good choice to drop it on that day. The 25th, the actual release of New Hope. So that's good. Good choice by Disney.
I'm presuming they're staggering it like they do all the stuff, so there's not going to be a whole dump.
Well, you get I think you get 2 kicks out of it that way. You get a May the 4th, which is just May the 4th. There's no reason to add to that. It's big in and of itself. And then you get to a bit of a resurgence, if not, that's not the right word, but yeah, you get another bump on May the 25th of this thing, and you can promote the heck out of it on May the 4th, that it's coming May the 25th. You might want to sign up for it. So yeah, I think it's a smart.
They might have like some kind of little teaser video coming out on that day.
Touche, yeah. That'd be a good trailer drop.
Yeah, trailers have only been like a month ahead. So, May the 4th, I could definitely see something big for Kenobi. So, or anything really. That'd be nice. So, and then the last thing for Ron's favorite, the High Republic Wave Phase 2, Wave 1, they released the name of all their books. I won't touch up on them. If people want to look it up, they can. When we have more High Republic focused, we can discuss name and authors and stuff. But they did release the titles for the next wave of books and comics as they all switch over. So that information is out there for everybody. And that's all the news from the HoloNet.
Oh, very good. Very juicy.
That's good news.
That is good news.
That's good.
Okay, thank you very much, Ryan, for putting that together. It might yet become a monthly regular.
Yeah, as long as we keep up. And we're about to have a huge dry spell. So we're going to have to find
Massive.
Luckily, I have Clone Wars to watch, so I'll be full of new stuff.
Don't get me started.
Okay, folks. So we come to the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
And for those who listened to previous podcast episodes, we did episodes 3, 4, and 5 a couple of weeks ago, and we did episodes 1 and 2 more than a month ago, because it only came out in December, wasn't it? So you have to listen to previous episodes based on the podcast to hear us digest those. Today we're only going to talk about the final 2 episodes. And first up was episode 6, called Chapter 6. From the desert comes a stranger. So I should read the synopsis here, courtesy of Wikipedia, so everybody wants to read along at home. like Jack, I was going to say like Jack Annoy, but I don't think you guys knew what that was over in America. Okay, so the synopsis is that Cobb Vanth, Marshal Tatooine's Freetown, which was formerly known as Mos Pelgo, but got named to Freetown, confronts and shoots Pike's spice runners. Djarin flees to a forest world to visit Grogu and is greeted by R2 and Ahsoka. Tano convinces Djarin that his presence will hinder Grogu, so he returns to Tatooine after asking Tano to deliver the gift, a Beskar chain-mail tunic, to the youngling. Jedi Master Luke Skywalker has begun training Grogu, his first student, to use the Force. Skywalker helps the youngling remember his home, the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, where he saw many Jedi killed in Order 66. Fett and his allies discuss their manpower shortage, and Djarin travels to Freetown to enlist Vanth and his people. After Djarin leaves, the hired gun, Cad Bane, arrives on behalf of the Pikes to order the town to be neutral in the upcoming war. Following a standoff, Bane shoots down the Marshal and his deputy. 2 Pikes later bomb the sanctuary in Mos Espa. Skywalker, bearing Djarin's gifts, gives a choice to Grogu: take the chainmail and stop his training, or take Yoda's lightsaber and be trained as a Jedi. So evil, yeah. So there was a lot to digest in that one, to say the least. Not least, the first thing I was thinking about before this, I was just going to ask the question generally to everybody, is how long has transpired, do we think, between this episode and Luke training Grogu and Luke actually getting Grogu, picking him up. Because this episode gives the opinion that he just literally just started training them that day. And
you got to start meditating first. So you're wondering how long between the end of season 2 and episode in this episode
one.
of Book of Boba.
Well, how long ago did he kill Bib Fortuna? The same time period, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Like a week
It really
now.
doesn't say. Honestly, it's probably only a couple weeks, maybe.
You think just a couple of weeks? Oh, well, yeah. I suppose you're right. I suppose we're slightly at the chain line, aren't we? I suppose. But it just seems a bit odd to be going to see how he is just a couple of weeks after you just bad up. Anyway,
he did almost die. So.
I'm just trying to work out the timeline. Anyway, we'll go around the table and give everybody a fair crack of the whip to say what they think. So, Ricky, what do you think of this episode?
I thought I rewatched it yesterday. Yeah, this episode was like the just the CGI alone and all that effect stuff that just blows you away. But just the story of how just showing Luke and I was watching. There's a cool little part where I think this is one where he's talking to Ahsoka and then she's saying, "Oh, you remind me of your dad" and all that stuff. And then she tells something to Luke and he's like. He gives this little look and he turns sideways. I'm like, they did such a good job on it. Like, it looks like it's really him. But all that stuff with wait, is this the one? This isn't the one where he builds a ship. No, that happened already.
The ship was before.
Yeah, the ship's already built. Yeah, when he sees that ship flying away from the thing, he's like, oh yeah, the Mandalorian was here. And I like that they call him the Mandalorian. They don't address him by name. That's all they call him. Is Mandalorian. I thought that was pretty cool. I like seeing all the characters team up and try to do a little plan, back at Jabba's palace. That was pretty cool.
The A-team section, yeah.
Yeah, and then, he kind of just pops in like, who's this guy? And he's like, I got some people. Obviously, yeah, and Cad Bane seeing him, that was great. It's just some good television right there. Just some good story, visuals all together. I love this episode. It was awesome. And then all the little frogs flying around. It was cool.
Yeah, the directing for the storytelling from the point of starting with Cobb Vanth, because I didn't understand. I was like, why are we starting with Cobb Vanth? But then it makes perfect sense when you introduce Cad Bane, because they introduce Cobb Vanth as a really great gunslinger, killing 2 people with 1 shot, and then he gets totally smoked by Cad Bane. So it's great storytelling layout in that way that they did that. So big props to that. And
then the Pikes are like, well, this is more than you make, and he's like, well, maybe I'll retire. Then he just like dumps it. Because he doesn't care. He just wants his, he's literally a marshal. He's a sheriff there of that town, and he's not going to take any nonsense from anybody. Which is makes. I'm not a big Cobb Vanth guy, but I mean, after that episode, I was like, oh, this guy's cool. Like he's got his morals and he's doing his job, trying to keep everybody safe. So I like that. But yeah, no, I love this episode. It was great.
It was my favorite of the season, I think.
Yeah.
At the more, I would say. So who's that? You guys probably know it over in America. I mean, the Cobb Vane chap. He reminds me of Pierce Brosnan over here in England. But I mean, he's been in other shows, isn't he?
Yeah, he was on the Hitman movie.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I've not seen that yet.
Yeah.
His biggest thing, I think, was Deadwood.
Deadwood. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen
Deadwood,
that.
yeah.
Which was a Western, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Western. Yeah.
That was on my might watch list. I haven't seen that because I thought everybody else seems to know who he is, and I was like, I've never seen this chap before in my life.
I think he was in a Die Hard movie, or am I getting him mixed up with?
Yeah, he was. He was in Die Hard 4, I think it was.
Wait, what? I'm a Die Hard fan.
Wasn't he the computer hacker guy, right?
Yeah, the guy that was going to take over the world, or the
much younger Cobb, or
he's all great now.
It was like 15 years ago, probably.
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah. All right, cool.
Timothy Oliphant.
Elephant. Yeah.
Timothy Blue Elephant.
Yeah, that's what I remember as Elephant. I'm sure he's heard that one before. Okay, Ryan, your thoughts on this episode? Yeah.
So some of my takeaways, I also like to see how my wife reacts to a lot of this stuff. Happy Valentine's Day. See, because I'll force her to listen to this. But how she reacts, because she's a movie fan. She watches the movies and she watches the shows. We collect the Funko Pops. So she's a big fan. And I'm the crazy one that does all books, all comics, podcasts, and all that other stuff. So I'd like to see how she reacts to a character introduction like Cad Bane, because the moment, so I'm happy I started watching Clone Wars, and I've been telling her for a while. I was like, yeah, this Cad Bane guy, this Cad Bane cat's pretty cool. He seems to be the only successful bounty hunter in the show. I mean, he's been featured, I think, 4 times in the 4 seasons, and he hasn't lost yet. And he's beaten 2 or 3 Jedi. He's fought Anakin and Obi at the same time, and he got away just fine. So it's like, man, this guy's, I had a lot of respect for him. So the moment. I mean, the split second they show that tiny little dot in the distance in the sand, I immediately like slapped my wife and I was like, no way, no way. And she's like, no way, what? And I was like, they wouldn't. So, and then when I introduced him, and I really wanted to see how she reacted to the eyes, because I knew how he looked, but to non-Clone Wars fans, seeing how they react to the reveal of the eye, because you kind of think it to look like maybe just a blue-skinned alien, no big deal. But I think even the eyes are a big reveal. So the way that was shot was fantastic, and she totally loves the character. She's like, he seems so awesome and so cool. So and if he is dead, to be discussed later, she'll be upset about it because he was such a great character. So
when you see that silhouette, we were like, is he wearing a hat? And we're like, he's wearing a hat, and we were all excited.
Immediately, I was like, yes. I was like, they wouldn't, and then they did, and they're using the same voice actor. I know some people mentioned about the design being a little different, but you want him to be able to talk. Cad Bane in the show.
Was it the same voice guy?
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
it is. It's Corey Burton.
Corey Burton.
Doing the voice, but I don't think he's the body that we see on screen, but his voice is ADRing, because that brought up a whole, they should have done that for Ahsoka.
Perfect. I mean, it's an alien thing, but, the teeth are big and menacing, but though just watching the way that he talks, the way
toothpick, though.
His lips, it's fantastic.
No toothpick, yeah.
Yeah, no toothpick.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, it's bad enough that you have a gunslinger in space.
Yeah, it might have been too hard to put that in his mouth while he's talking,
Yeah,
it's easy to do animation to have the toothpick in there and draw and talk with it and whatever, but prosthetics, teeth, and everything else, trying to move lips and talk and holding on to a toothpick with those teeth, they may have it'd be interesting to see it behind the scenes. They may have tried it and said, this ain't going to work.
Probably kicked the toothpick habit.
Older and ditched it. And granted, older and could be a thing, but he doesn't need to be light blue. I didn't mind the design so much, but he's wearing a hat and he's not living on Tatooine. He's just there enforcing on Tatooine, so it's not the sun. But it could be an age thing. But it could have been dark blue. But to your point of the reveal of the eyes, they definitely purposefully sort of did that with the brim of the hat and the looking up in the eyes. And I wondered if Cobb, because he says he asked his name, I didn't catch your name, trying to catch his name and never does. But when the eyes get revealed, Cobb has a little bit of a, I don't know if it's a knowing, I think I know who this is, or it's a little bit of a, scared because those are like scary red eyes. Or there's an interesting beat, an interesting take on Cobb Vance's face when the brim of the hat comes up, see the eyes that made that scene very, very well done.
Yeah, so I think his reveal was great, and I get excited to see just general Star Wars fans, such as like my wife, who doesn't follow all the other stuff, invest themselves in all these talkings, to see what she thinks of the character. So I find that very interesting and I also like to watch my kids watch Star Wars and then, ask what they think type of thing. So I always find people who aren't up to their neck in Star Wars, what they think of it. So I thought that was fantastic. And again, Luke, the way they designed Luke, I'm glad they're investing in just showing Luke. And if people ever want kind of like a Luke Skywalker live action show, which I kind of doubt will ever happen, fans are going to have to accept that they can't use CGI de-aging all the time. And we'll have to accept an actor. So they changed the actor. I'm sad to see Max go. But to do almost more work on how the actor works and less on the de-aging, I think it was a great idea. So there wouldn't be the whole... They won't ever look exactly alike. The whole Solo, who needs to be Han thing, I think was one of the dumbest arguments in history. Like, we have to accept an actor who is not 60 years old to be a 20-year-old. So just recasting Luke, if you want him in live action, to get something as close as you can and slowly strip away the CGI. So I don't know if Shamook, I know we discussed it in past episodes, he's the guy who made the face-overs, and he was hired. So I want to know how much he was involved in the series, because it is staggering how good Luke looks and the way that he talks.
Somebody deepfake his deepfake, and they put some what's his name, one from Winter Soldier. They deepfaked his face on the new deepfake. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that cast. Sebastian Stan's a relatively big name. He's got other stuff to do. I like lesser known actors that are willing to stick around, because it's like, You get someone big name, they're like, I got other stuff to do. I can't come back all the time and do this. So I like lesser known actors. So
I picked up an interesting tidbit I didn't know. So the body double or whatever that they used as a frame of reference was not the same person that they used at the end of Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's a different actor.
Oh, wonder. I mean, it could be anybody. They could use me for that matter. But yeah, it was that's an interesting that. Well, yeah, why didn't they, or they needed that guy for all the stunt. It's not stunt work, but
facially he has the same structure as Hamill, because I saw a picture of him. He looked more like him than that Max guy. So
yeah,
less of a cleft chin though. I do like a good strong chin in the middle. So
that'll be an interesting behind the scenes of how much of this technology, this deepfake technology, relies on the originals. A close proximity to then tweak it to so that we see Mark Hamill. Could they use me and tweak it to be Mark Hamill? Probably not. So they need a close proximity to it. That'd be interesting to see. I did not know that. Hadn't heard that. Hadn't picked that up anywhere. So it's an interesting tidbit.
I hope we get some more behind the scenes stuff. We seem to be in a dearth of it at the moment, isn't it? There doesn't seem to be a lot of behind the scenes stuff coming from Disney, so it could really
maybe that's what we'll get in that incredibly long Star Wars break that everyone's going on about. That dry spell, that 2-month dry spell that everyone's in conniption.
Yeah, that really long dry spell.
So what about Luke's voice then? Was that re-simplified, or was that an actor? Was that?
I think it was synthesized the way they did last time.
I think it was. I don't know where I heard that, but I think it was synthesized from Mark Hamill's other work.
Yeah, I've heard similar that it's the much like the technology that's doing the visual, they have the technology that can do the audio, and that's why we don't get a whole lot of narrative or a whole lot of word out of them.
Honestly, I didn't realize it, and I just watched the episode again this morning, and I still can't tell any difference that this is an actual real voice, which is either terrifying for technology or great watching TV.
Yeah. You said about your kids, and he's on a vacation. I've been meaning to ping my family members for my 9-year-old nephew to watch this and see what he thinks about seeing Luke. Because to us, Ryan, we see it, and man, it is incredibly real, and the sound, the voice is definitely Luke Skywalker, but in our minds we know it's not. So we have that baggage, we have that extra piece on top of it that we have to let go, unlearn what we've learned, kind of thing, to go, all right, I'm seeing Luke's freaking Skywalker on my screen. That to kids and everything that don't know the minutia, the behind the scenes, I'd love to pick their brain and see what they have to say about that. What do you think of, and I don't want to lead the witness and go, that's not really him or whatever, because I think to a kid they're just gonna be like, oh, okay, that's Luke training Baby Yoda.
It's an adult. Yeah,
it's just not. I don't think they're going to notice or otherwise go, I don't know, that doesn't quite look or sound like him. I think they're going to just absolutely love this.
People that saw Rogue One and they hadn't seen Star Wars in a million years, like they didn't know that Tarkin wasn't the real dude. Like they didn't they weren't looking for it, so they didn't.
Yeah, I definitely had some fans that watched it with people, family members or whatever, and I told them at the end, asked them at the end if they not recognized, but if that character looked off or anything. I'm like, no, whatever. I'm like, that's a totally CGI'd character. That's a totally computer generated guy to look like somebody who's passed away because we needed him from the time era. And they're like, yep, had no idea. So the technology works for the people, for the lay person. Works just fine for us that know the minutia behind it.
Yeah, that's why I ignore the nitpicks between Leia and Tarkin and Luke. It's like, listen, it's either this or nothing. So,
and we're literally looking at industrial lights and magic. Like the fact that they can bring Luke and having this conversation and training a little Yoda, like that's my mind is still like boggled by the fact that they're able to do that. Like that's just crazy. Yeah.
That's gorgeous. I'm stealing it. Yep, the M in ILM. It is the magic part of what they do, because it is. Rewatched it as well, Ryan. And Luke sort of coming out of, it's not a trance, but they're meditating, and Baby Yoda's got one frog, and Luke comes out of it and looks, and he gives a Luke Skywalker smirk of just, really, is that what you're doing? Kind of look, and it's wonderful. The feeling generated in seeing Luke with that sort of look of come on, what are you doing with your force? That's not what you're supposed to do. Is so Mark Hamill, is so Luke Skywalker, is such magic, because I know that is not, I know it can't be really him, but it is him to me because it's on the screen. Yeah, that was that was a fun surprise of this episode. I don't think we knew we were getting that, right? We didn't. So, we see Luke or see him going off to Grogu. We think we're going to get Luke, but I don't think we knew we were going to get 20 minutes of Luke. It wasn't one scene. It wasn't I'll take him with me, Jedi. Yes, I am. And off he goes. It was some great Luke. It was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful to have that.
And R2. R2 taking a nap. And he's like, I'm just going to.
R2
had a little bit of
a right old beep again, as I say. That's the moment when you really need him to turn himself off.
He's like, make the guy a bench. I'm going to take a nap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. I love the Mandalorian saying, what is that, a bench? Oh, geez, how long am I going to be waiting here kind of thing? Yeah, that was fun.
Okay, Tony.
I really enjoyed the episode. The only thing is, the Luke thing was amazing. I was just gobsmacked watching that. The only thing is, I kept thinking that what does this have to do with Boba Fett? You know what I mean? It just, the whole Mandalorian Grogu thing, even from the previous episode that was pretty much all Mandalorian, it kind of felt like it was taking away from the story of Boba Fett. So that, was one thing I was having issues with. But I was so into it that I didn't think about that till after the fact. Cobb Vanth and Cad Bane was amazing. Seeing Cad Bane in real life, I loved that. So overall, the episode was great. Other than just feeling like they kind of shoehorned in the Grogu stuff. And I see why, they needed to put that in so that when, he comes back later on, it explains that. But it just feels like that should have been more part of the Mandalorian show, I guess, is what I was feeling. But, I didn't think about that till after. While it was all happening, I was just in it and I was enjoying it. I was enjoying seeing Grogu again and training and seeing Luke. That was just amazing. But I
think the way they market it was probably the problem. But I was just reading. I was going to quickly interject. I was reading on Wikipedia about this, and it says here, blah 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 blah. Okay, it says the production with Book of Boba Fett. The production referred to each episode of the Book of Boba Fett as if it was the third season of The Mandalorian. For example, the first episode was referred to as 301 rather than 101. So really, I think it really was The Mandalorian season 3, but with our focus on Boba talking and stuff. So
I would chime in. I've been meaning to make this post as well. That everyone going on about how this isn't, kind of to what Tony said of this is the Book of Boba Fett, but we're not seeing Boba Fett. It's not. They did The Mandalorian. They had the Mandalorian story. They introduced and found a way, they brought Boba Fett back, but they realized if we bring Boba Fett back, people are going to have all kinds of questions of where was he? How did he get out? What's he doing? Where is he? Where is he? Yeah. So they kind of have this tangent, it's the Mandalorian, but there's this Book of Boba Fett where we're going to tell you some Boba Fett story so that he's not just magically back and you're not all asking a thousand questions. So I really don't think it's the Boba Fett show, the Boba Fett series that we kind of were thought it was going to be. I don't know that we were ever told it, but we might have had the expectations that we were going to get all this great Boba Fett stuff. And while we did episodes like this and that other one that was truly all Mandalorian, he was only in it in name only. I really take it as they had the Mandalorian story. They were telling the Mandalorian story and realized they were going to have a whole lot of Boba Fett. So instead of thinking of the Mandalorian taking over the Boba Fett show on a couple of episodes, it's the other way around. Boba Fett took over the Mandalorian show for a couple of episodes, and we had a lot of Boba Fett and no Mandalorian, and we were excited about it. So to call it the Book of Boba Fett it's
a spinoff.
It's a little, or it's a bit of a tangent in that Bible sort of storytelling aspect of, it's this book. It has something to do with it, but we're going to focus over here and not just be one episode and Boba Fett's back and has a slave one, but we're not going to tell you anything about how any of that happened, because we would clamor for it, and it provided them an opportunity to provide Star Wars content. So to tell a Boba Fett. So I think we could get a Boba Fett show proper that is about Boba Fett that might be previous adventure, the adventures of Boba Fett type of thing, that doesn't have to tie in with this timeline at all, that is previous stuff, and then we can see a young Boba Fett and a badass Boba Fett and all that kind of stuff that doesn't have to be in universe and in this timeline. So I really think that's where we're going to find out why we got the Book of Boba Fett the way we did, that they realized they had a lot of Boba Fett content to interject into the Mandalorian. Yeah, and instead of calling it Mandalorian season 3 and us going, well, geez, where's the Mandalorian? This is all Boba Fett. It's great.
Well, and then
where's
like,
Mando?
The season started off and he's trying to take over Jabba's palace. You never see him kill Bib Fortuna in the show until like the 4th episode. They have that little snippet. So I'm like, if somebody's just watching just this show only, they have no idea what's going on because you had to watch Mandalorian.
I do wonder that. I do. You talk about Ryan was talking about kids and other fans that aren't Uber fans that talk about it on podcasts like us, whatever. What somebody's take on the Book of Boba Fett would be as just a show. It's just, the Star Wars thing. This is something new. Let me watch this. Does it entertain? Does it work? Does it capture? Does it make you want to see the next one? Does it ask a bunch of questions and you just go, oh, geez, I got to dive into this whole universe. No, thank you, kind of thing. Whatever. It's hard to.
If you don't watch The Mandalorian, it might be confusing if you only watch Boba Fett because you're like, who's this guy in silver? So I agree with you where Boba Fett has taken over The Mandalorian for a couple chapters, not the other way around. I think too many people were looking at it. That's a very good point. I never really thought of it being viewed like that. So yeah, it's definitely a good way to look at it.
Now that we're done with it and looking at it and seeing what they provided, because I mean, literally one episode was all the Mandalorian, this other. So yeah, it just seems that they had a lot of Boba Fett content to provide and shoehorned it into the Mandalorian, but called it the Book of Boba Fett, which is fine. We got some great Boba Fett story out of all of it.
Tony, you got
that's all a great point. I'll say, it's one of those things. Like, I'm not really negative or very down on this series at all. What I will say is that this is probably the show or the of the movies or anything. This is the one that I've really had the most. And the best way to say it, because it's not really negative, but it's like it's just a mixed feeling about the show, and it's just the way the show is, and it's kind of like to what Ron's saying. I get that, like we made it, the Book of Boba Fett. It's tied into the Mandalorian, but I feel like I would have felt a little more satisfied with that if they really tied it into the Mandalorian. They should have just alternated one episode Mandalorian, one episode Boba, maybe back and forth. Maybe tie the Mandalorian name into the series more. I think that would have alleviated, because I had certain expectations, I guess. Maybe that was the problem. And the thing is that I wanted to see that backstory of Boba Fett, I guess. Okay, show me, how he got out of the Sarlacc, and show me, maybe some of his previous life. Like that I was interested in. Him taking Jabba's place didn't really, like, I never got the sense, like, well, why? What does he want?
We're showing the Book of Boba Fett right now, so in another Mandalorian season or 2, we're going to have Boba Fett come over and probably, like Ricky talked about, take over Mandalore or something like that. Like, Boba Fett's going to have a role in the future.
I guess.
Had to get these couple chapters in now, so in another year or 2, like, this is a long game that they're playing.
Yeah.
Like as much as people like want to see like, oh, Boba Fett doing all the, like, would that be really formulaic to have the show where he's just, okay, here's the bounty, let's go get that, okay, capture it, end the episode, put a ribbon on it, next episode,
And I think what happened with that is, from what I've kind of heard, behind the scenes, the Mandalorian, as pitched by Favreau, was supposed to be Boba Fett. Like, he pitched a Boba Fett show. And then Lucasfilm told him, well, we have ideas. They were working with Josh Trank on the Boba Fett movie. So they kind of told him, we can't really do that. So he changed it from Boba Fett into the Mandalorian, is what I've heard. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. It does make sense to me.
Makes sense, right?
Because to me, the Mandalorian, the show The Mandalorian, that's kind of like the Boba Fett show I would have wanted to see. Just substitute Mando for Boba.
I don't know if I'd want to see Boba Fett walking around with the little Yoda, though.
Right, going soft. Yeah, the going soft. Although he did go soft.
Had it happened, I'm sure we would have loved it. I don't think we would have really have flinched. Because to me, the Mandalorian is more the idea I have of Boba Fett than the Boba Fett in the show is. And the Boba Fett in the show is a different guy than what I always imagined.
There would be a
Boba
number
Fett
of
to be.
things, hurdles to jump, because you'd have him returning it to a Jedi, returning it to Luke, the Mandalore lore. I think having the two allows for some fun story in terms of the Mandalore dogma versus Mandalore chain code and history. That Fett is, he doesn't care about it, but he does. Let me say this. The idea of the Book of Boba Fett, as told by Boba Fett himself, is him growing, right? And him becoming a better person.
It's his legacy.
Yeah. So, but isn't that in a way what Din has been going through? He started off as just, kind of like a badass bounty hunter. He finds Baby Yoda, Grogu, and he's grown as a person. He's becoming a better person. He has a purpose. It's basically what Boba wants. And that, to me, you could have had the same thing. You could start out with Boba, just, and then at that point, the same thing.
To your point, then, right? The Mandalorian was Boba Fett because he was badass, even though we didn't know a thing about him, just in story, much like Boba Fett. But then he turned into this big softie that's running around.
That was the story of growth. And to me, I would have preferred, that would have been, it felt more than all of a sudden Boba Fett, for some reason, which I didn't really get in the show. I don't understand. Like Ricky said, they didn't show him killing Bib until the 4th episode or whatever, and they still didn't even really explain why he killed Bib Fortuna.
Well,
I know he wanted to take over.
No, when he's talking to Chrysanthemum, or when Fennec, he's like, "I'm tired of getting sent to these jobs, and we just keep getting killed, and we don't even know who we're killing, and he just." It's the hired hitman, the same trope they use for every.
I got that part. But I mean, I don't know. It just for some reason, and I'll have to go back and watch it. Maybe I missed something, but it just didn't land with me. It didn't make perfect sense. I don't understand.
Tony, I think the one thing you said that would have made sense. This probably should have been titled "The Mandalorian: The Book of Boba Fett."
Yes,
because then it lets us all know that it's a continuation. I mean, we knew it, but we didn't kind of think whatever. But yeah, it should have been The Mandalorian: The Book of Boba Fett, and we have this little whatever, and then we get season 3, The Mandalorian, and it's season 3 of it that. That would have
titled the crawl.
that would have worked a whole lot better because it got to expectations. We were like, "Ooh, the Book of Boba Fett. It's going to be all about Boba Fett." And no.
And then you expect the Mandalorian to pop in, or know it's really tied into that, or it's
it's tied.
Something up.
It's got a link. It's got a link.
This is really about setting, like you said, I think, Ron. Or somebody said about setting things up for when we go back to the Mandalorian, and obviously I think the mission for the Mandalorian now is to reclaim Mandalore, to get that back up and running again. Restore the glory of Mandalore, unite everybody, and restart. Mandalore.
That's going to be an interesting challenge because when we knew that he had served his purpose, handed off Grogu or whatever, then he could go back to being a badass and rule Mandalore, if you will, so to speak. Now that he's got Grogu into the whole time, he's got to be in this battle, but always got to watch out for the kid, and it's going to be this back. I don't know. They have a challenge in front of them. It'd be interesting to see how they want to get it.
Well, it all makes for good storytelling. Otherwise, it'd be a boring show. If you didn't have
going on, good storytelling. There's some tweaks to that, or there's some concerns with that, especially the next episode or whatever, as to how good the storytelling truly is versus just making content because how much of Grogu's return, Luke doing what he did and everything, and Grogu's return that we're spoiling for the next episode that we need to talk about, is marketing driven. Was that truly the way it was supposed to go all along, or did somebody go, "Holy, we've got a hit on our hands here, or whatever. What can we do to bring this back? Find a way to reincorporate him and get the Mando and the kid back together." Because the whole decision and the decision making, the decision that took place, just I don't know if that's the right kind of Star Wars storytelling.
They know what's going to happen. They know what's going to happen 2 years from now.
Yep, touche.
We don't.
We don't. So, it's a long game.
It's just buckle up and enjoy the ride, which I did. It was good.
It's all Star Wars to me, so I didn't. Yeah. You can call it the Book of Ahsoka and have Boba Fett in there for 2 minutes. I wouldn't care.
Which
Star
Ahsoka,
Wars.
that's another, it's like, But anyway, I won't get started on Ahsoka being in there. But anyway, it was good. I enjoyed it. Good stuff.
Okay, well, we'll hastily move on. Marie.
I thought it was great. I mean, all of the elements coming together. I mean, yeah, as we've discussed, it was kind of an odd deviation from the story of Boba Fett, but I can kind of see how this is more of an ancillary rather than to the Mandalorian, rather than Boba Fett in and of himself. So I didn't have a huge problem with it, although I would have wanted more Boba Fett, but it's not something that I'm clamoring for. They might have something in the pipeline that I have no idea about yet, so I'm not complaining on that score. I'm absolutely loving this Luke, even though he's sort of CGI'd, but not to the point of Uncanny Valley. I'm loving that they're bringing back like a young Luke, and so we can kind of get a glimpse of that, where he is kind of prior to taking on Ben and all that disaster that we know is coming, when he's still young and kind of hopeful and kind of learning the process of becoming a master, along with teaching, learning how to be a teacher kind of thing. I thought that was an interesting aspect of that relationship with Grogu, because I picked up on that when he said something about, like, I'm not really teaching him so much as like reminding him of what he already knows. And I was kind of intrigued by that. So I kind of want to see more of that. And I'm hoping we will see a little bit more of something like that in Ahsoka, since they brought her into the mix of this whole thing too. See, the Tatooine section, I really loved the introduction of Cad Bane. It seemed very like Sergio Leone kind of spaghetti western, which this whole thing has been. Like the Tatooine sections of it have been very spaghetti western in their presentation, like spaghetti western / Saturday morning monster movie type thing / Star Wars, which is great. Like all the stuff I loved about my childhood, mostly. Most of the stuff that I grew up on. I mean, the spaghetti westerns not so much, but everything else. All in all, yeah, I loved it. It was great.
And a bit of kung fu.
Yeah, a little bit of kung fu. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
The monks.
We've got to move on. Get Ron's thought, because we've got about 25 minutes left, and Ron's been got to the last episode yet. So
I've been chiming in on everything. Ahsoka's saying I don't control the wants of others, and so the man is like, well, all right then, I'm gonna go see him. There's that piece. There was a piece in there. Luke is talking to Grogu about size matters not. That's how Yoda talked in riddles. Do you know anybody else that talked that way? Where you're from or whatever. Yeah. And he's like, do you want to remember? And he does the mind meld thing, and he doesn't go back to his home, Grogu's home. He goes back to the Jedi Temple. I thought that an interesting. You got to rewatch that in the dialogue. The way Luke's like, that's the way he talks. He's kind of, I don't know, is he fishing to go? Do you know where you're from? Do you remember anyone else that talks like that? Here, let's go back and see what you remember. And what Grogu remembers is the Jedi Temple, not his home. That was he taken as a real youngling or whatever. That it's interesting that he didn't end up going back home. That he went back to that Jedi Temple piece or whatever. Ahsoka, I think Ahsoka and Luke, man, it's eye candy on screen, and it's interesting on screen, but so many questions. I have said this from day one when people were speculating about, what if Ahsoka and Luke get together and Ahsoka trains and helps Luke to be Jedi training? That would be awesome. And it's like, would it? Because if I'm Luke and I find out about Ahsoka and all the ties that she has to the 6 degrees of separation that is everything in my life and where I'm ending up, I got a lot of questions for you, young lady. Where the hell were you for the original trilogy years? Because we had a lot of stuff going on and could have used your help. There is just having her, again, it's the big picture. It's what Ryan says, that they know where they're going to end up in a couple years. We don't, so I'm waiting for it. But, man, having her in this and having her interact with Luke at the time that she was just sort of running interference between Luke and the Mando, that was okay. But she's up there like, so much like your father and follow your instincts and everything. That is a slippery slope of why is it Luke? There's just so many questions there that I can't even. That is a whole 2-hour thing.
Well, then maybe the one that tells him about how the Jedi fell and all that, that he knows later on when he's older.
So I'm mad at her. Where were you for those times? Because we needed some help. You knew the Emperor was the Emperor. You knew Vader was Vader. You knew
He's
a
like,
lot
here,
of
watch
stuff.
Rebels season 3.
And you're nowhere to be
Rebel
found.
season 3. That's where I was.
You could have helped. You could have helped a bunch. The Cobb Vanth Cad Bane was just so good. I speculated a little bit of fun, so they did the spaghetti western thing and drew that tension. I asked in the group or whatever how many cuts were in the scene. So when you see Cad Bane go for his gun to indicate that there's going to be a draw between that first scene and when shots are fired and Cobb Vanth takes it in the shoulder. What's everyone's guess for how many cuts?
Did I say 45?
You were like at 68, Marie.
68.
You know what I mean? There's a bunch of cuts between these eyes and that gun and that guy and Deputy Scott and all these cuts, whatever. How many cuts do you think took place in that short little window of time?
12. Is that
Tony? You have a guess? Ryan, do you have a guess?
2.
I don't have a guess.
No guess?
I
Come on,
have
pick
no
another.
idea. I'd have to go back and watch it.
33.
33.
I think I said 9 or something. I shot really low.
Yeah, no, definitely. Ricky had it in the post or put a number up in the post or whatever that was spot on. Was 25. That's how many I got. At the end, it gets real close. But I was doing pause and slow motion or whatever. But yeah, they did a great. You don't realize it's that many in that short amount of time between when he goes for his gun to when the shots are fired. But they did a great suspense building that is his eyes looking over there, looking at the gun, looking at the full screen of everybody back and forth. And it's interesting who shot first or who drew first.
Is that a question?
The deputy.
Yeah, the deputy.
Han.
Deputy
tried
Scott.
to.
I just love
Scott tries to,
time,
and Cad Bane says, "I don't think so."
Every time that guy opened his dumb mouth, and then like Cap Vanth would look to the left, like, "Dude, like, shut up." That was like great.
So it's not a fair to call Cobb Vanth. I'd like to see another duel between him. Now, granted, it's an older Cad Bane versus a young Cobb Vanth, whatever. But Deputy Scott got into the mix to draw to then I think Cobb draws in terms of what we see, but Bane draw, he was trying to protect the deputy, that whole kind of thing, whatever. But it's so well done. Anyway, that's what my whole point of all that. So well done. The edits, just great suspense, all that good stuff in that episode that amazing. Now, Cad Bane walk in the desert. Where the heck is Freetown? Because it's far away from everything. So
where did
walk
he go?
there,
He left. He just kept walking.
and to turn around and walk away to maybe his ship is off in the distance, but yeah, it was also very convenient, and it's storytelling. It has to be, but Mando.
Everybody walks on Tatooine. Even Boba. Every time he walks into town, he walks from the palace into. Nobody flies anywhere or takes a speeder. Everybody just walks over.
This scene, and again, it's writing. It has to, but Mando flies away and. The marshal is no longer waving goodbye to him, that he turns around and hears the spurs of Cad Bane walking into town, kind of thing, whatever. There was no time. You watch the scene again. There is no time difference between his ship taking off and Cobb Vanth somehow noticing off in the distance, a good half mile, a couple clicks out, there's a guy walking to town, and so he tells everybody to get into town. Now, granted, it's spaghetti western, and it's the necessary way of the storytelling, but it's just. When you watch it with a couple of times, you kind of pick up on that. Wow, he just took off, and all of a sudden he looks to the other end. It's a one-street town, so it's really not that hard. But he looks the other way, or he hears a breeze. That's what it was. There's like a wind chime in the air, or whatever, that kind of tinkles or something, and it catches. It's like a ship landed on the other end of town that made this thing blow or something. Anyway, it's such a great episode of Star Wars, and obviously the Cad Bane reveal. I don't think we talked about the end of the episode and the Camtono being left behind, and the droid saying, "Ooh, you left your Camtono," and the Twi'lek lady having a look on her face, realizing what that was about to mean. And
that was quite a surprise. Yeah,
it was. Yeah. That was a very, very brief scene.
I almost choked on my carrots.
Very much a surprise. Oh wow, okay, that just took place.
That was like Scarface level gangster stuff right there.
Luke making him choose. That was another thing. There was a line in there. Ahsoka's like, well, perhaps he's a Padawan. Or Mando says he's a foundling, and she says, well, perhaps he's a Padawan now. And I'm like, well, okay, why not both? Why can't he be a Mandalorian foundling that has now become a Padawan? So the writing, the storytelling, I hope they fix it in terms of they know the long game and where they're at, because that coupled with Luke going here, Mando wanted you to have, he could have, your father wanted you to have this lightsaber when you were of age kind of thing to Grogu. He didn't have to make it so much if you pick this, you choose that life, and if you pick this, you choose this life. That was a little off for what Luke did, or what.
But a bad choice. He's lost.
It's why does Luke have to be this great Jedi master and trainer? Because he doesn't have any training. Ahsoka would be much better at it, in the sense of she has so much more formal training and teachings of some incredible Jedi masters that is Yoda, Obi-Wan, and working with Anakin or whatever. So yeah, I think it might be a precursor to some of the misgivings and, dare I say it, failings of the much vaulted Luke Skywalker that everyone wants to put him on a pedestal, that it might go to that, because he's lost his first student already in terms of trying to teach in this way. So big picture, we need to see more, obviously, of how all that wants to transpire. And I think the ant droids, I love, there was a scene where we saw a rock floating. We're like, Mandalorian's like looking over, going to see some training, and it wasn't a rock floating, it was the droids picking up a rock. But that was a clever part of the scene, whatever. But I think the ant droids are real world in some fashion, or off of real world design. Those legs, those 6-legged things moving around, I think I've seen somewhere. But great episode, can't wait to talk about the next one.
All right, speaking of which, we will accelerate onwards. So episode 7 was chapter 7, In the Name of Honor. I'm sure there's a U in that honor somewhere. It's American Spanish.
There's no U in honor.
So Grogu chooses Djarin's chainmail, although we don't know that to start off with, and R2-D2 flies him into Moto's hangar. Bane and the Pikes confront Fett, Shand, and Djarin outside the remains of the sanctuary, where Bane reveals that the Pikes killed Fett's Tusken tribe and framed the biker gang. The other crime families betray Fett and attack his soldiers throughout Mos Espa. Fett and Djarin send Shays Major Domo to distract the Pikes, allowing the pair to attack the group, though they are soon outnumbered. Freetown citizens and cyborgs arrive to save the pair. But the group are overwhelmed again by 2 shielded Scorponix droids. Mutto arrives with Grogu and helps Djarin destroy one of the Scorponix, while Fett's Rancor destroys the other. Bane scares off the Rancor with fire and defeats Fett in a gun duel, but Fett kills Bane with his gaffy stick. Grogu lures the Rancor to sleep, ending its rampage. In Mos Eisley, Shand kills the Pike boss, all the other crime lords and everybody else. As Mos Espa praises Fett, Djarin and Grogu fly away in an N1 starfighter. Later, Cobb Fenth is healing in Fett's back to tank as the mod artist prepares cybernetic enhancements. Not sure I like the use of the term cyborg in that, but that's Wikipedia for you. We'll have to speed around. Yeah, they're just mods. I would say just use mods. Why cyborgs? Well, let's go around again quickly. We have to go around quicker this time around. Ricky.
Yeah, no, I liked everything. And I watched this back to back with the other one, and like Cad Bane leaves, and then he shows up at the Pike, so it's like it's perfect timing. And then but I was really surprised that the cantina place got totally destroyed. But watching it the second time, like he pretty much was like in the center of the room when they blew that up. So I thought that was pretty cool. The Scorponix droids were pretty cool. I know we were debating if they looked like the T-800s.
But those are T100s.
T100s? Yeah.
No, T1, not T100, T1s.
No, T1s. Yeah, but they look like that. Those things are cool, though. They were like giant droidicas, so... And I was like dying for them to just have some droid poppers and roll them underneath from Clone Wars.
Yeah, but, those are threatening as all heck, man. Holy cow.
Yeah, those are cool. And then we finally got
walk
to see
through shields?
Not those ones. Yeah, but I was wondering that. Yeah, not those ones.
Well, I mean, that's the only explanation, I guess, is the timeline is such that they've improved the tech so that you can't. Mando with his armor, I get why we couldn't get through the shield or whatever, but I thought we could walk through shield. Oh no, the droids, take that back. The droids in Ep1 walk through the shield that the Gungans put up. So it's not a metal thing. It's a shield protecting against laser bolts, but it is a much different timeline. Right, it's a much different timeline.
Energy shield.
So it could be improved. That's how.
Well, it's like Obi-Wan couldn't go through the little. laser gates in episode 1 either. Like, he would hit it with the lightsaber and he couldn't go
Yeah,
through.
those was shields. Those were something different. Those wasn't a shield. That wasn't a shield generator that went during as they're running down that corridor. That was whatever the heck that was. Something different, obviously. But from a droideka, they have shield generators, Master. Those things we've seen walked through, I think. Well, maybe not the droideka droid. Maybe I'm just thinking of the Ep1 walking through what the Gungans put up. But anyway,
shield, I think.
I like that they're bringing stuff back, and that was an unused episode 2 concept from Doug Chang, so that's pretty cool too. Everything ends up in a Star Wars.
Those droids are in some book somewhere that
they're not
they definitely didn't look very Star Warsy, but they're in a Star Wars book, so okay, yeah, they're Star Wars.
I like the little what else happened in that one? Oh, all the stuff with the little touching moment that Din has with Grogu, and she's like, well, I like this moment. We gotta, And then she's like, I'm not calling you that.
That's funny. What a terrible name.
What a terrible name. Yeah. The Major Domo guy, he was funny in this. Wasn't a big fan of him, but I like that Boba kind of put him out there with that note.
Told you. I see romance there brewing, and that romance there coming up, isn't there?
Oh, with those two, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
He's like, he will fertilize the earth or the Tatooine with the gardens of your dead teammates. Yeah, that was cool.
More of him. I hope he sticks around. He's annoying, but in a good way.
Yeah, he grew on me, but yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, we got to see him ride the Rancor, and then they had the duel at the end, and
now that was my question. And what people can remember in the Rancor scene where the trainer is saying to him about he sees you, and then the Rancor loves you and responds to you next. Didn't he say it took a long time to train to ride a Rancor?
Yep, he did.
I mean, it can't be more than about a couple of weeks.
I think he said dedication, that it would take dedication. I don't know that he said time, but dedication implies time. But to your point that there hasn't been a lot of opportunity to dedicate the training aspect of learning how to ride a Rancor. But I think along that same lines of the nitpicky type of question, Mos Espa and Jabba's palace are some distance apart, and we've already talked about how Mos Espa is also huge. So Fett walking through town, we kind of assume the sanctuary is in the center of town. So walking through town's one thing. Walking from the palace to the edge of town's one thing. Riding a Rancor from the palace to the edge of town to the center of town to where things are. It was just, oh my goodness, there is.
Well, he has a jetpack to get there, and I'm assuming the Rancor can leap pretty far.
I don't know. So again, we don't know the stallion-like nature of what a Rancor's gait is in terms of what kind of distance it could cover. We saw a little bit of that with Moochie running around and running some rampage, but Mos Espa and Jabba's palace, I don't know, but something has me that they are a good distance apart, that the Rancor is going to be tired by the time he gets wherever. But maybe some stunning visual. Yeah. Fly him in the back of the Slave One to the outskirts of town, whatever. But yeah, made for some super stunning.
Yeah, we get to see a Rancor tear through a city. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. I hope they got some good insurance on those buildings. That's all I could think about was how many buildings were being destroyed by that Rancor, unintentionally or unintentionally. Just thinking,
it's just the heroes are saving the city by destroying it, but they save the city and destroy the Avengers.
They love it so much.
The city, but they also save it.
Ricky talked about it. The Cad Bane meeting up with the Pikes was kind of near the beginning or whatever, but just him telling him about it was interesting. The Pikes tell Cad that they killed the Tuskens or whatever, and Cad sort of sticks that in the back of his mind, and then uses that to get at Fett to get his goat, to throw him off his game, I guess. I don't know. That was because he purposely asked, does he know that? And he's like, he has no idea. We left evidence so that he would think it was the Nikto speeders, and he kind of even smiles, smirks. Otherwise, you definitely notice that he was picking up on that as ammo or using that. And he does later. He does use it to sort of throw. I guess that's what it was used for, right? To throw.
Yeah, because he was going to go charge at him and shoot him right there, but he would have got, out.
Yeah, I think he was hoping to goad him into a shootout. That way, he knew he could beat him in a shootout, and that would avoid all the the war and all this other stuff. So he's like, if I can just pick him off right here, that'll save a lot of time and I'll get paid quicker. So
Wookiees can take like
yes.
all kinds of laser. What is?
Yeah.
He's awesome. And he's wearing armor, and maybe the armor took it. I need to rewatch
It
it.
did. It was hitting
goodness.
all his armor. I was watching yesterday. I'm like, it totally hit like the center of his chest like a million times, and not like his skin.
I tweeted about that. I put that, and he's down, and he's up, and he's down, and he's up, and he's down.
One
and he's up
tough
again.
match, yeah.
They're very resilient.
Yeah, no way. But he did
And
have
I
quite
think
a passing at one point.
They do not regrow.
We got to. That's the.
Trooper shooting.
Yeah, we got a something calling we got a pot. This is the pot calling the kettle black kind of line out of Cad Bane. We've heard that before. I think something made me think we've heard somebody say that sort of line before.
I think Mando had said it.
Yeah, maybe that's where it was. I wanted to see if anyone knew if that had been said before because it sounded familiar.
I think it was said in The Mandalorian.
It was along the lines of wasn't that the pot calling the kettle black, but it was Star Warsy terms, and I don't remember.
Like, isn't that the slums? I forgot what he said.
The quack something.
It was.
Yeah,
I've seen
I think
it.
it's from Mandalorian.
Something slimy, but yeah, the Fett, the Fennec is at the first duel, but the Fennec talking to Fett and talking him down, saying you're emotional and all that sort of stuff, and him taking his hand. I don't think it was on the trigger, but he puts it on top of the gun, indicating he's not going to do it or whatever. That was awesome. I don't know. There was something cool about that reserved badassness. Well, is that what it is? Okay, yeah, his hand on top of it.
Yeah,
that was it's real like a real world. It's Fett and Cad Bane out in the sun, on your big screen or whatever. Made for a fun.
Like you're getting soft in your old age. You tell.
Okay.
I was surprised to learn seeing the two fight side by side, Fett and that's how much of a not Mando Uber fan I am, or whatever, that their T visors are different. I had no idea, or whatever, but that Fett's T visor, the up and down part of his T is a little wider than Mando's. I just not a Mando merc fanatic or whatever to ever really notice.
Mando doesn't have the visor that goes down.
Seeing them fight side by side, you really pointed out how their helmets are different.
Oh, and they're flying in
the
air.
We need to square. How the heck does Mando's all about Creed and all this sort of stuff, but he's square. He's super deluxe square with the Fett and his helmet off. He's got no issue with him holding it it's sitting on his hip and he's holding it under his arm and he's talking to him like it's, not a thing. The only thing I can think of. Yeah, but he's like mad at Cobb Vanth for wearing it. Just even wearing it. You don't even, give it. I'm going to take it off, peel it off your cold, dead body kind of stuff, whatever. The only thing I can think of is that when he first meets him, Fett shows him that it belongs to his father, that it's part of his family, that he honors the fact that it is his Mando armor he's allowed to wear or whatever, but that still doesn't necessarily square the whole, and maybe that's going to be the first sort of salvo of how Mando is cool with.
You just remember Cobb Vanth is the first person he sees do it. So yeah, its reaction is crazy. And then he sees Bo-Katan do it and he's kind of getting less and less. He's like, okay, maybe I was wrong. And then he does it himself. So he slowly realizes he still follows it, but he's not now yelling at people. You're not following my religion. So
he's getting a little bit more.
He's
not passing out pamphlets to anybody.
Yeah,
he's kind of just doing his own thing.
Getting a little bit more immune to it can be awful. But there's one scene where Fett's got it under his, and he always has it perfectly, and it needs to be. It's cool, but he always has it perfectly on his hip, under his arm, facing the camera, so that you can see that menacing T visor that is such a great look. I think Fennec's look as well is growing iconic. It's just her looking through the little slit or whatever is a very cool look as well.
I like the part where she was like, "Oh, manners, that's nice," and then she pulls it down a little bit and then
out of the kids. We get to see her be her be a master assassin. I really appreciated that. That was a cool scene as well.
I was going to say, what my takeaway from the episode when it finished and that scene happened when she assassinated them all, I was thinking, why didn't she do that 2 days ago? Wouldn't that have just stopped half of this? If she just sneaked over there and took everybody out. But
I think she didn't know where
he
they
wasn't
were.
there.
It was the major domo that told her where they were.
Oh yeah, she didn't know where they were. Yeah, I mean, I could have. Oh well, I'm just saying, couldn't you find that one out quicker? But
they had just got back from wherever he was at because he was gone.
Oh, okay.
He was hiding. I think he was just
And plus,
hiding.
everybody, all their soldiers were like distracted fighting.
What are the Bosk aliens called?
Trandoshans.
We're still freaked out about the Trandoshan eyes. When they all attack Chrysanthemum or whatever, there's something about their eyes that are weird, man. And they're creepy. they freak me out.
They
I don't know what
glowed.
it is.
Was
Something
anybody else?
reptilian about them.
Yeah. Was anybody else sad about the Gamorreans getting pushed off the cliff?
Oh, they should have bum rushed that crowd.
They
They're
didn't.
big chewing Gamorreans. Why they don't just charge those yahoos
guys are good
instead of
for
getting
nothing.
pushed back and pushed back? Come on, they
Like,
could have
yeah.
They weren't-
easily just.
I let out
You've
a
heard
good.
this before. They're not
Star
good at
Wars.
what they
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we don't have them. We don't have. You can obviously find two other ones or find more somewhere. Well, yeah, but those definitely. Not that anybody's ever dead in Star Wars, sheesh. But yeah, those two kind of bit the bullet.
Cyborg
Yep.
Gamorreans.
I think Rick said it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
think-
mod. You can
I think
mod
if I
them
was
now.
being,
Everybody can-
if I was being pushed towards the edge of a cliff by an angry mob, I would at least have one attempt at run at the mob, even though I knew I was going to just get stabbed to death anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
know,
bum rush them. That was a
Certain,
little-
but it's either I've got certain death behind me or probable death in front of me. I'll take the probable first and then be thrown off.
They
the
aren't smart. They aren't the smartest. We got to remember that.
Yeah, touche,
Yeah,
Ryan,
that's
touche.
the thing.
Yeah,
They're
not,
not the
That's
sharpest
true.
knife in the drawer.
not intellectual giants there, the Gamorreans.
cliff.
I do love putting them. I think Ricky said it. Putting the major domo out there, reading his. Here, he's got a thing he wants to say to you, and he wants to say to you, pound sand. Oh wait, really?
Yeah.
That's what you want to say to him? That's not going to work. Wait, I'm the one that's out here. I don't want to read this. Yeah, that was. I hate the guy as well from a character design, but the growing on me aspect of hating him is that's what he's designed to do. He's
Yeah, then there was the other part where he's like, "Oh wait, maybe we can just surrender." He's like, "How much do you think they'll give us for the Twi'lek?"
yeah, that's some good, definitely good one-liners. Good,
I
good
love
floats a little bit
it.
out of it.
Yeah,
There wasn't any great surprise because as fans and watching the show, that's why when I asked the kids and your wife Ryan or whatever, that we all knew as soon as you saw the spikes of like a stegosaurus or whatever through the town over a city building, we knew what it was. It was no surprise to none of us that it was the Rancor, because they led us into it so well in terms of I want to learn how to ride him. So it wasn't any great surprise. It was just a cool realization, if you will, that all right, here we go, Fett riding a Rancor. Let's see what this is all about. Yeah. I was a bit meh about it at the time. I've since come to terms with okay, it's kind of cool thing to see or whatever. But again, it gets to the man that castle or the Jabba's palace is so far away. That thing had a long haul to get there, but it's definitely fun to have him running around. Why he's trying. How well he recognizes. So this goes to your point, Ricky, about recognizing or imprinting or whatever. Because Fett, he's obviously not colorblind or has very good vision. Because Fett and Mando are going to look the same, I would think, to a Rancor, but obviously not because he tried to eat the Mandalorian.
Well, and they smell too. So.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
going with the pet smell. Okay.
Did he eat the trainer? Is that why the trainer was on there?
Okay.
Trainer was long gone before he had a chance to imprint on him.
Any final finale thoughts? Anybody? Anyone?
Yeah,
You
I got.
have to say
yeah, I got-
whoever hold their peace.
Yeah, I got one. So, do we think Cad Bane is dead or not?
No.
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 Yes.
Well, I agree. I don't think so. But who's there to pick
He's
him
got
up,
his little
rescue
droid,
him?
doesn't he?
It's going to be Toto 360. It's
Yeah.
going to fly in.
So, yeah.
Well, that's what I wonder. Who would be there? Like
the little lights were sending out a beacon that he needed help. So.
Oh, is that what the beeping was? Because there was some beeping that takes place when he's there. There's some noise. There's some visual or audio cues there, and that's him sending off a. Yeah, in terms of
I didn't hear that.
When Bane's down and it's just him right at the end. There's some beeping noises that goes on.
The little chest lights beep and the lights flash. So.
And if there's lights flashing, then yeah, that's him sending for the Toto droid. But why doesn't Fett or any of Fett's friends, or whatever, go and drag his lifeless body off and do anything with it? But that's bad.
Yeah, and then if he would have,
nobody ever
would
does
have been
that.
like, well, we need to find out what happened.
Just step over him.
But how old is, granted, we don't know anything about Duros, but, how old is he at this point? Because, right, he was a Clone Wars. So, and how young was he in Clone Wars? He was a badass in Clone Wars. So
Boba Fett calls him old man. So,
oh, well, yeah, he got to throw the line that I'm not a kid anymore kind of thing. So,
when I saw that post-credit scene with the a figure in the Bacta tank, I thought that was Cad Bane to start off with, and they got close and they thought, my God, what the mod's done to him? They've changed his skin colour, given him a beard and hair. My God, Cad Bane's going to be really angry. And it was like 10 minutes later, I was thinking, you idiot, Stephen. You absolute idiot. But I thought that was what the mods had done to him.
I thought Chrysanthemum should have been upset because, he promised him a soak in the tub. I mean, he got shot like 50 times. Cobb Vanth took like one hit to the shoulder.
No, he did. He was in there.
I think he'd already had it by that point.
He already had it.
He already had it. Yeah.
I kind of think so too. Or we don't know the time. But the dialogue definitely was that wasn't fair. The dialogue of I'm sorry what happened to the marshal and they shot him in cold blood or they took him down in cold blood and all that. Yeah. The dialogue could have been tweaked a little bit better to let that post-credit scene thing work as well as it did. But it's fine that he's there and we'll have him. He should exist. He can easily be modded. If Fennec can be in the desert for as long as we would, then he can obviously make it and be modded and be cool to be coming back. Did we think Cad Bane was going to win? That he had Fett on the ground, point blank, and everything? Do we think that's how Boba Fett was going to go out?
I thought somebody else was going to shoot him.
I don't know. I was like, are they really going to do this? Seriously. I was really thinking, all right, are they really gonna? This is how Fett ends. Boy, that's not gonna sit well.
Yeah,
with then he gaffy sticks him, and I'm like, all right, well, that was very, very well done because they got me. They legitimately got me. That I wondered about, what was going to happen there. But for him to the poetic nature of him taking him out with or getting out of that situation with the gaffy stick and removing his gun, whatever he did, flips him, twists him, whatever, and then take him out with the gaffy stick. Yeah,
I saw someone posted online that Cad Bane got killed by a bad cane, which I thought was very good.
Okay, folks.
Well, yes, the design of it all, the aesthetics of it all, the watching it, some of the blaster bolts and squibs and that kind of is a little bit like it's a TV show, but boy, Mos Espa felt real, the Rancor felt real, Cad Bane felt real. Yeah, so well done, so well done.
It ended with an 18 joke as well, so that was quite
nice.
Nice.
What was it?
Well, it wasn't a joke, but I mean the little bit of bit of humor at the end, ha 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 ha.
Like, what are we gonna do now? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's like Chrysanthemum's got the apple, the fruit.
Isn't
it?
Yeah.
We're gonna take all the work in. Oh no, Chrysanthemum can have a huge. Then you get
like, where's my fruit?
Yeah.
Should have ended with them all jumping in the air doing a high five.
Oh God! Yeah. Brings it back to the '90s that we started with. Whatever.
And the music hits.
I was actually hoping Boba Fett have words at the end of this one. I heard him say Book of Boba, Book of Boba.
Theme song.
I never heard the audibilization of it before.
No, that was just for that episode.
Was it really? Okay.
Yeah, it was just for that episode.
Yeah, it was for that episode. I don't remember hearing it before.
No, because I've been.
It was just me.
I was hoping that the post-credit scene would be more along the lines of the Book of Boba Fett post-credit scene from Mandalorian. Something that teased what was going to be in the next season of Mandalorian. Something, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, because you're right. There's nothing to that scene. There is nothing that makes you go, huh? Other than so the marshal's going to be around. Yeah, right. There is nothing thinking about it. Right? Tony. There's nothing carrying any weight to what that was or speculation or who was that. It's clearly the marshal, right?
Yeah.
Unless we're totally off.
Yeah, no.
No.
His hair looks pristine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
He's still wearing his turtleneck inside.
His hair looked awesome underwater. Under Bacta.
And then to close it out,
Yeah,
Stephen, because I
wasn't
know
it?
you want to try to get this wrapped up or whatever, but
Yeah.
you know, we got all the check boxes were checked. Mando and Fett riding together, and we got a big bad that was kind of Cad Bane, and yay, and we got Fett riding a Rancor, and then the end scene, we get what we kind of all knew was going to happen when Peli said, "Oh, I took the astromech thing out because I know you don't like droids." We got Grogu up in the bubble of the Naboo spark.
Oh yes.
Yeah, we got him. We got him up there.
That was my
Tapping
daughter's
on
favorite part of
tapping
the
on glass.
whole thing.
Let's go. Hit the
Do it
punch it
again.
chewy kind of
The
thing.
minute we saw that N1 starfighter, I thought that bubble thing is for Grogu. That's exactly as what it was.
Yeah. There was no question about that one.
It
And he
didn't
still had
hide
the
it.
ball.
Didn't even try. Yeah.
He kept that ball on him just so he knew he was going to see him again one day. He's like, I'll give it to him when I see him again. That was cool.
But it does the whole episode or season 1 and season 2 of Mando was getting Grogu back to a foundling, back to where he was charged with getting it back, and he did. So it's going to be interesting to see how he squares this with the armorer in terms of what do you got him back for? I told you your deal was to take him. Well, I did, but he didn't like that school. It just interesting. I'm anxious to see where they go with it. Obviously.
We could just say it's school holidays.
But you want to speculate on what we're going to see or how excited we are about the end of May? As long as they don't, I don't want to say they screwed up Boba Fett because it is what it is. They did Boba Fett. Boba Fett fans might not be super happy with what they saw and where he's at and all that, whatever. But I really hope they do a little bit better for Obi-Wan. Not that this was bad. The Book of Boba Fett was bad, but they have so much more opportunity to screw up Obi-Wan because we know so much about him. Fett, we projected a lot on top of him. But Obi-Wan, we know a lot about, so they better not screw him up. That's
I think you discussed that.
Yeah, and I've never been like a big Boba Fett fan. Like I am kind of now because I like the show and I like the way he was in it. So I'm total team Boba Fett now. So I don't know.
Did anybody else feel like there was a missed opportunity? Right now, I was just thinking to put in a throwaway line about the whereabouts of Cara Dune, because I feel like Cara Dune probably should have been part of this battle. I feel like Mando would have.
Yeah, she was in
gone
season
and
2
brought
for
her in.
like
good
one
call.
episode.
Right? Yeah. Why wouldn't he call her in?
Why wouldn't he call her in? An
point of Cobb
experienced. Yeah.
Well, Cobb Vanth is that role now, so
Yeah.
I know, but
to Tony's
we
point,
need to-
why
we need
wasn't the
to-
Mando
to
caller?
put a close to Cara Dune? We know she's not going
Yeah.
to come back anymore. We need
We
to
know
close
that,
that story
But
out.
Mando would have her as a resource, right? Why isn't he calling her in? Why isn't he calling in?
He would have called
just
her
less that
before he would have
different.
called Cobb Vanth, I think.
Yeah,
They
Cobb's
were
on
world.
planet, so he's easy and has
and proximity wise, I guess he's closer, but
the town folk to help as an army, but still
I
put
still
out
feel
the
like a throwaway line, like, hey, why don't you call Cara Dune? She's got experience with this.
Well, and you got to think
he could have said, oh well, she's not available.
Tony. Who would say that though? Who would know?
She's
about
with the
Cara?
Republic though. So just like when the X-wing
Is
shows
she,
up
though?
and Peli was like, "Oh no, I got all my papers."
left
She was.
off-
Yeah, she took the
worried.
sheriff job, didn't she? So
We left.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't know that she accepted it. He gave her the badge, but she didn't say she was going to take it. Or
No, she was. She's the one that helped him get the dude out of the prison. He went there for help with her.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
but Tony,
she's
who would even ask him that? Who in this?
Boba, because they worked together to get that one guy. Well, I know Fennec and Cara Dune worked together.
Well, I mean,
they
they could have
did,
called Bo
to get him
Katan,
out of the
too, and,
prison.
like,
So Fennec
Yeah,
could have
it's-
very easily said, "Hey, what about Cara?"
What
Yeah,
about
good.
Cara? Yeah.
I think
Yep,
it would just
yep.
be. I think it
what
would
about
just be
Luke,
pointless
Kara,
to
and Bo
because-
Katan, and everybody?
Well,
Well,
not
they're not
Bo-Katan
gonna-
because they have no real
Hadn't worked
loyalty
with
at
them.
all
Yeah.
to either of them. You know what I mean? Maybe more to Mando, but not to Boba. There was kind of bad blood between them a little bit. But
Well, I mean, I don't think a criminal like syndicate, team like Boba's and trying to take over, be a crime lord would call the feds to help.
We call
Yeah.
him
Probably
Marshall,
not,
right?
no.
But again, the Marshal is on
He's
planet,
local.
and it's going to
Yeah.
affect him.
But I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that was an opportunity for them, and it would have been just a throwaway line. She was not going to come, and it was not going to, But I think
it would have
they
seemed
could have brought
shoehorned
it up.
in. It would have seemed very shoehorned in.
Well, to your point, Tony, I haven't seen. It's a great point. I love it, but I haven't seen it a lot of chatter about, where the hell was Kara? Why not call Kara? And maybe because none of us are going to put that out there because we know
everybody knows that she's not going to show up.
Yeah,
so.
we know she can't. We know we can't call her because she's not going to show up.
That's why it
But
would have
to
been
your
good
point,
because we know she's not going to come.
Solidify it, or otherwise say, oh, we can't call. Fennec saying, what about that Marshall chick? Whatever. And he goes, whatever happened to her.
Planted the seed about that she's not going to be around anymore. You know what I mean? It's like,
could have very easily. Yep.
Well, you never know. They can recast. They can do other things, and
yeah, that's true. We don't know what the plans are.
Okay, folks, got to run, and I gotta go.
Hey, fantastic Senate, y'all. Love chatting Star Wars with everyone.
Good times.
Yep.
Thank you very much, everybody. See you again next month.
bye-bye.
Cheers.
Next time.
Bye-bye.
May the force be with you.
Go switch off. I am the Senate.
The Force will be with you, always.
And this is going to be the first Super Bowl I watch in like I don't know, freaking.
That's what I thought last week. I thought, are they going to throw Kenobi into the ad break?
Honestly, I don't think so because usually they tell you they are.
Yeah.
Usually release a teaser and then they'll say full trailer on the Super Bowl or full trailer in Good Morning America.
Good morning, everyone. I would chime in that I think the Super Bowl this year is on NBC, whereas other football game tie-ins was when it was on Monday Night Football, which is ABC, which is owned by Disney. So it wouldn't cost them anything to run an ad, so to speak, or do something if it was an ABC televised game like Monday Night Football type of thing and tie-ins like that. But being NBC, I think this year
it'd be all Jimmy Fallon stuff.
Yeah, I can't imagine they would need to pay or want to pay that kind of money for Super Bowl buzz.
It would cost them Super Bowl ad money, and they're not going to do that.
Can't imagine that it's worth doing that, although you are going to generate, Obi-Wan Kenobi is a name. You would generate a lot of buzz around it, but I would be very surprised. I would not lay money on that bet that we would see anything Kenobi.
Yeah. Every time they announce a trailer, they always put a teaser a couple
There might
days
be a
before.
generic like Disney Plus commercial.
Yeah. I'd give you that Disney Plus commercial
Yeah.
that kind of showcases everything, Star Wars, Marvel, all the stuff that they have on there as a streaming service, perhaps, and maybe and coming May 25th, Kenobi, but yeah, full on Kenobi trailer.
NBC has their whole their own streaming, the Peacock stuff and everything. So
yeah. If it was
a lot of
ABC, I'd be all for it.
A lot of
I'd
Minions.
put that money down.
Yeah, a lot of minions.
But don't think so. Not. But yeah, we'll be watching the commercials, and we'll see what we get.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm late.
Has your parcel arrived yet?
Good morning.
It has not, Stephen.
Oh, have you got a new ETA? Can you watch them on the old GPS?
I don't have any tracking mechanism in place, but I do have tested that the doorbell, in fact, does work, although I have headphones on. However, the doggo in the house does react like all dogs are trained to in doggy finishing school when a doorbell rings, that I should be notified by the dog, and it's hysterics whenever a doorbell rings. So we'll see if it happens while I'm on the call. But as Ryan pointed out, the 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. time frame means that it's going to show up at 3:45.
It's
During
just
halftime.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So Kenobi trailer's gonna come on, and then Ron's gonna dance at the door.
Yeah, no. So the game doesn't start for me till 6, Ricky. It might be 3 for you, but yeah, it's late for me.
I think it's like 4:30.
Did we say before about some jokes for some sort of Star Wars kind of puns at the door when you get the parcel? Didn't we say for Ron when the delivery driver comes? You should do some sort of
Well, I don't think he's gonna know. I don't think the delivery person's gonna know what it is. It's just going to be a box. Oh, it is possible. Yeah, we'll see what's on the outside of it, I guess.
Holocron? Yeah, I don't know. Say something.
Oh yeah, no, we were saying that you're gonna put the box right next to your cell barge.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to give it away, but okay, possibly. It's possible.
Oh my God! It's not. You've not funded another fundraiser sort of thing, are you? It's just like full-scale Death Star.
It's a life-size Mandalorian.
I don't think they offered the full-scale full-scale Death Star.
Man. Okay, well, there we go. So these, I think here. So should we crack on? I've got it on recording. Is everybody settled and all that?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Ready.
I'm ready.
I left